Gang. All right. This is as funny as it gets. At the very beginning, I was like, oh shit, don't forget the microphone. And so for the past hour, I was real proud of myself for having hit the microphone button. What I neglected to hit was the go live button. So, yeah. Shit. I'm Steve. That's Steve. This is the Deployed from Detroit School of Leadership and Madness. Iggy was with us. His phone dropped or exploded or something like that. I know he was watching John Wick, so he may have decided to jump out a window and start shooting people. I know that's what violent movies do to people, per a book I read. JK, I'm dyslexic. I can't read. Uh, so hang on. We have how many? 0 concurrent viewers. Fantastic. Love it. Love it, gang. No topic today. Not as of yet. Not anything important. We do off the bat. We still have the volunteer thing going on. Jesus, Steven, your microphone is making noise. I'm gonna mute him, folks. How do I do that?
Spoiler.
Spoiler. So we're doing the Pathfinder program, and that's what we're calling it. I still want to call. Can you turn your speakers down or something? Because the echo is going crazy.
I had a feeling that was going to be a fucking issue.
Yeah, that went bananas all of a sudden. Whoop whoop. There it is still. Okay, so folks, we're getting that situated. So the Pathfinder thing, we're still. I need to make a phone call and see if we can use that name. But if not, we'll just call it something else. Who gives a shit? But right now we're trying to do it in Metro Detroit, and we'll develop it here and move it abroad, thusly. But we'd like to help veterans navigate the system out there. The VA is available. Like there's all the veteran service organizations, the vet centers. There's even deals you can get on cars and houses and all kinds of stuff. And so it's a lot for some people. And I think it'd be good to have a team of folks who, like, we don't have to learn these services or develop new services. Just help people navigate this shit so they can get, all the things that are coming to them. Ooh. That echo's hilarious, dude.
I have no idea what's going on. Are we live right now?
Oh yeah, we're live.
Oh, cool.
And we're echoing. There's like a 3, 1. There it is. Did you get it? I can hear you now. Yeah, dudes. So I'm trying to get that echo fixed. We'll get it there. Error. So, that's the thing. DFD.SLM at deployedfromdetroit.com. If you are E5, that's what we're looking for right now. E5 or higher, just because it means you've had some counseling experience or training. And we're just going to help people get to the places they need to get. That doesn't necessarily mean giving people a ride. We still need to figure that out. And so before we actually provide any service, we're going to determine what that service is, but I'd like to start figuring that out with the people who are actually going to go out and do it. So I'd like you to have a little bit more leadership in your own roles as we go. So let us know if you're down, or if you're someone who is just lost yourself trying to figure shit out. We get lost ourselves, but we're trying to find our way through as we go. Or if you have somebody, who got out of the service or is going through something, they're trying to figure out how to get to the VA or how to get their benefits or how to get a house or a car or their college, have them give us, contact us, dfd.slm at deployedfromdetroit.com. And at a minimum, we'll try. We are not experts. We are not certified in anything, qualified in anything. We're just a bunch of knuckleheads giving it our best. And we'll see what that does. So if you want to do that as well, we'd love to have you, because I think there is a need for it. And if we can get that filled, we can probably prevent some pretty shitty stuff from happening. So, game on. Technical difficulties abound, folks. Kind of here just chatting by myself now. There's, you there, buddy? Oh, he's being murdered by some furniture. Sounds like a desk is sneaking up behind him. Careful. Careful. Oh no. Where is... I'm going to send a message to Paulie D. So, Iggy was on with us earlier in that hour that we unaired. I'm going to see if Paul has figured this out yet. Nope. Okay. Well, folks, if it keeps going this crazy, I think what we can do is go ahead and call it. Because I don't mind showing off our worst content, but I don't plan on making bad content. I get that we do at times. But let's not make it a habit, shall we? So if it gets this technically wild, we'll just, call it a night and try it again when we can figure this shit out. No harm, no foul. Oh, man, oh, man. Well, folks, let's treat this as a lesson in, what should we call it? I hate to use the word failure, because not enough people give a shit about this to call it a failure, really. So, that's a good, I shouldn't quite say that, because I don't want to discredit you. Because why should I say the things you like are shitty? That's shitty of me. But this is a training wheels device, and it's allowed to fall down. Hey now, if you build it to fall, it doesn't matter when it falls.
All right, give me just a few moments.
Oh, here he is.
After getting that shit all together.
Yeah, man.
Give me a few more moments.
Outstanding. All right, ground control to Major Tom. We're doing well. Outstanding. Gotta flex the buttons, flip the switches. So maybe we will continue here. One thing I want to figure out, if anybody is, if any of our listeners or viewers are savvy with this YouTube nonsense and any of this podcast shit, my question specifically is, so I see these reaction videos. There's someone like, oh, well, they're reacting to, and it's basically then just like watching a music video going, that's pretty cool. Oh, I like that part. What is the difference between... Because my concern isn't the monetization. That isn't my concern at all. Because we're not making money, let's not pretend. So let's not... So, like, if we take that out of the equation, that we don't care about the money, is this something that will get the thing pulled? Like, so if I want to play some music that, like, oh, we like these guys, or we like these guys. Sorry for my gendered language. How does that work? I don't know. Because I see all these folks doing it. It seems to be fine. I don't know. But I've been listening to some pretty cool music lately. I'm a big music fan, a big music buff. I think it's odd because, like, the music copyright laws, the way they are, it's easy to share music in a way, but it's also kind of difficult. It's an odd one. Like, you've still got some certain mass media outlets out there where you can ensure like a shitload of people are going to hear this song. But then once it hits the internet, it's kind of Wild Westy, and it's like, I'm listening to some Japanese metal that's fucking crazy. Oh. I'm going to play a hint of it, and you guys can have your minds blown by it real quick. But I'm trying to figure out how I can play stuff like this or stuff like anything. Because like we had that one episode a while back where we were playing like songs that bum us out that they always play. Like there's a bunch of songs that typically get played at military gatherings about 10:30 when people feel like they need to have a good cry and they're not adult enough to say that, so they just play some song like some tear jerkers. So we just like played some tear jerkers. And it's fun. I'm not shitting on us because I enjoy all the things about the tradition, but it is some of the silliness is there because people want to talk about things and it's just easier to do it this way. But anyway, this band is rad as fuck. Oh, it's a commercial. Hang on. I'm going to skip it, folks. Suck it, General.
My name is Henry, working within Amazon Transportation Services.
What's up, Henry? I'm skipping this. Okay, this is a band out of Japan called Ningen Isu, means human chair. It's based on a Orimpo Itagawa book about a, well, I won't spoil it, but... What the fuck? Right? So good. So do I gotta put a thing in the... Here, let's see if... Can I put a thing in the description saying, hey, we played it... I don't see it. I need to read that. Because that's probably what you gotta do. Is say, I put this, I put that. I don't know. Why am I asking you? You're listening. You're not. I love you guys. It really is nice to be able to just fucking vent. You know how that goes. I'm an indoor cat. You're an indoor cat, right, Steve-O? Microphone. Oh. Nah, hit the mute button.
There we go.
Yeah. Das Muten. Yeah, man.
No, I'm more of an outdoor cat myself.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know if I'm agoraphobic or if I'm just afraid of the outside. Oh, is that the same thing? Probably. I'm not afraid of outdoors. It's just such a fucking hassle.
It is, but it provides so much new experiences, you know?
Yeah, I'm told I need vitamin D real bad. I'm going to catch rickets or something Victorian.
Well, just drink or eat your oranges.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something weird like drink your piss.
Oh, that'll get rid of the scurvy at least.
Oranges and piss. It's good for you.
Don't do that. So I kind of heard over my mic here what you were talking about, and I think this was something that we were speaking about beforehand.
Yeah. The Pathfinder thing?
Not the vampire thing.
No, Pathfinder.
Pathfinder. No.
Yeah. The helping people out thing?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We can work.
That's my pet project name for it, because like I get lost a lot, and I figure it'd be nice to have somebody show me the way, and I'm like, oh, Pathfinder's fun. But like I would like to call them and be like, is this cool? Are you fellas cool with this? Just being a vet organization, I don't want to assume anything.
That actually is important. You know, after the things that I've gone through over the last year, I mean, I'm lucky I have a good support network. Don't think a whole lot of vets do.
No.
Or
and there's actually something.
There's actually something very specific about veterans, especially folks that have seen shit. And especially in our generation, older millennials.
Yeah, we all turned into Vietnam vets somehow.
Or at the early point when all the aid was not there when you returned.
Yeah.
To really figure out shit.
It was pretty wild. It took like 3 years to get in the VA system and get that figured out.
See, I still have not been through the VA system. And
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Partially because of some of my own personal characteristics, I will say. it wasn't until this year that I actually really got nailed
Yeah.
pretty hard, due to interpersonal relationships, uh, personal relationships, myself
Mm.
specifically. It actually took someone doing the deed that I served with over in Iraq to really
Yeah.
knock myself back into reality, because I was already at a downward slope and I already knew that.
Yeah. Suicide.
I mean, I
can
was
set
never
off, like,
suicidal,
3 reactions. It's either
but
like you're like, oh, I could do that, or you're like, holy shit, I got to get my shit together, or you're one of the few who's like, well, that's weird, and then just moves on. But like for a lot of people, there's like if you're close to that person, there's the like, oh Jesus, and it either tips you into like something deep or something good, but like it's gonna tip you
exactly,
more than likely. Like it doesn't matter who you are.
it's difficult because I've got, I wouldn't say that I'm very close with a lot of the folks that I served with
Mm.
over in Iraq, because I was doing my own shit for the last 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the last 4 years. And then, this year, COVID, uh, threw everything into a tailspin. I mean, it's thrown everybody into a tailspin.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, no one really knows psychologically how to react to this shit. And I'm not a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination.
It can't be good to be like I'm at home alone a lot, and like I went into a really weird, not a full blown like holy shit spiral, but I was on a pretty bad kick of just some preposterous, dark, shitty thoughts. And a lot of it comes from sitting here home alone by myself, day in, day out, which for me has kind of been that way for a couple of years, which, sorry, that's a bummer, but it's true.
No, I understand.
But it's also like, it's not good, because then, like, you get a shitty thought in there, and then if you don't have someone to go, hey, what? No. Then it just grows. And then until you
Yeah.
get someone to go, shut the fuck up, that's stupid, at least for me sometimes, then, like, it stays.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't mean
sorry.
to interrupt.
But, like, yeah, no, it stays in there until someone, like, knocks it out of you sometimes. Because, like, if no one's there to check you on your bullshit, that bullshit can get strong. And, like,
It
that's
does.
a
I
huge
mean-
bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, drinking a beer. But
I'm gonna
yeah,
smoke a
I mean,
missile.
no, that's the weird thing
Hmm.
that occurred with me, because I was not in that position, because trust me, I mean, I already kind of know that I would be able to execute pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying that I was close to that point either. I mean, I got plenty of guns and shit like that. It's like,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
fuck it.
If you
It's
wanted
like,
to, you
yeah,
could
I
figure
don't
it
need a
out.
plan. I already know how to work my weapon.
Yeah, this ain't no crossword puzzle.
Yeah, it's not difficult. I mean, and there's a weird thing about veterans,
I'm sorry.
and I'm not gonna throw specific statistics out or anything like that, because I think that might be a little too much for my capacity at this point. But
Word.
most of the time, veterans just, first of all, veterans do not like seeking mental health in the first place.
Yeah.
It makes you feel weak,
Yeah.
especially in my.
And if it's not
in my
handled
vocation.
right, like, it doesn't get better. Because, like, that feeling of, because there's a couple versions of it. Because there's like, oh, I don't want to look
Oh,
weak.
yeah.
Like, oh, someone thinks I'm not capable of a thing. But then, I don't know, there's other versions of it too, where you avoid it because if you don't get diagnosed, then it's not real. Like, if it's not on paper somewhere, then it's not a real thing you have to address. And you can be like, I'm fine, tee hee hee hee, as you're like putting an iron out on your legs or something crazy. And like, holy shit, you're not, it's not good, this isn't great. But like, well, it's not on paper, it's not diagnosed.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I still got I like to call it Rocky Balboa. It's just and it's just from a piece of asphalt that I fell down during a basic training. That's I still don't want to. I don't want to leave him alone. He's part of me now. It's just a piece of asphalt from Fort Knox.
Souvenirs, yo.
But here was the weird thing. So I mean, the dude that did the deed, and I don't know the specifics about what happened there, because he's far away.
Yep.
You know, and I only get this information through social media, and no one really wants to throw out exactly what happened.
So and so killed themselves. 400 likes. You're like, I get it, but
yeah,
there's not a like.
Yeah,
fuck button.
I mean, everybody. So I actually I thought about it quite a bit. He did the deed back in September.
Yeah.
And it was
to a Green
probably
Day song.
right when I was hitting the worst dumps.
Yeah.
My time.
Dude, seasonal depression is a bitch, and like I don't know if that's what affects you particularly, but like I know like for me specifically, mine kicks in October, but I know like if you have depression or you've never had it, like it can come in waves, and just all of a sudden you're like, well, November's gonna suck, and it just kind of does sometimes, or sometimes it goes away and you just have a shitty month. Like it's wild sometimes, depression.
Sure. No, I understand that. I mean, a lot of what afflicted me was due to some of my own mistakes that led to a complete destruction of what I used to have as a social network.
Yeah. That's
and it was getting pretty damn bad. And my folks are down here too.
Yeah.
And they were saying, hey, maybe you're strong, but you might need to talk to someone. And I was not happy about the idea, but I did it. It's way too expensive. I'm fucking pulling that shit now.
Yeah, dude. It's for free at the VA. That part's nice. I get all my shit for free because I'm certified.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well,
folks.
So when he did the deed and I was still trying to grapple with it or grapple with it. Is that the right word? Grapple?
You can figure out gutter rape, but you can't. Oh, we didn't.
I forgot I remember gang rape. gutter slut.
That was all in the unaired hour, but luckily we brought that back.
Yeah.
He was gonna name a tank that. It's gonna be like Fury.
Oh, Fury? Yeah, I got better shit for you. Gilgamesh, motherfuckers.
Just rolling through Babylon, having a good time.
But yeah, I mean, it slams it, especially when that happens. I mean, I'm sure that you kind of remember how that hit you when the other guy went down, and it kind of knocks you back into reality to a point.
Into something. Like it knocks you out of whatever you were in into something else. Because like it may feel real. Because it feels colder and sharper, at least in my experience. I don't know if those are the right words, if that sounds familiar.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
But like there is that shock. Shock feels realer because there's more information. But I think there's also some falsehoods to it because in fear and in shock and in sadness and in sorrow, you also have separate motivations and priorities that cause you to like keep information. So you're keeping sadder information and you're keeping scarier information. And you're also like, what kind of birds were singing at your grandfather's funeral? What kind of, some of us have that information. Some of us have no fucking idea other than like it smelled like this and it looked like that. And sort of, and it's not for everyone, but like there are those moments of clarity, but the things that are becoming clear may not be anything helpful towards building a picture of what the fuck's going on sometimes, if that makes sense.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I guess where it comes from me is that as I was going through my own issues over the summer and then into September. I mean, it came out of the blue.
Yeah.
When this happened, I mean, I know with our mutual friend, it was kind of
that was coming.
out there. It was
Yeah,
it was kind of out there. It was. I mean, I kind of knew what happened when it happened, but I wasn't really going to press anybody on it.
Not too many people were like, "How'd it happen?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
anybody
mean,
who
no,
is,
that was
like,
that was the
familiar.
first reaction that I had from one of because I hadn't talked to the guy for probably about a year and a half,
Yeah.
I think. And we were exchanging a lot of, I mean, I didn't serve directly with the guy.
Mm.
I mean, we weren't like battle buddies or anything like that over
Right.
there.
He's just another fellow in the unit or something.
But over the last couple of years, we were talking to each other quite frequently when I was originally trying to write a book about the history of the fight that we were in.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was very respectful, and I was kind of a dickhole. One of the things that I remember him saying is like, you shouldn't talk about the folks that we served with directly. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm doing it historically. I'm not
That is a hard
like
one.
yelling at anybody. And he had more of he was a scout,
Yeah. Well,
part of the unit.
that's a guy, they probably want a little bit more privacy, but
Well, no, and well, I mean, the whole thing was weird though, because it seemed right up until that happened, they was such a happy motherfucker. Just like he was the guy that would roll up and obviously the only direct connection, especially after a year and a half
yeah.
that I had, was just like, hey, how's it going, all you happy people? How's it going? And it's like I ignored it because I mean, we were already over the conversation that we were having about. I mean, it was a year and a half ago that we were talking about these things, and I didn't even realize that he wasn't even in any like risk.
Right.
I mean, I kind of saw that with our mutual friend, but I
Yeah.
didn't see it with this guy.
Well, it can pop up quick too, because it can
I
be
know it can.
circumstantial, or it can brew, or you could just take the wrong antidepressant and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm not afraid of dying anymore. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know, and that's exactly what I responded to, is because in both instances I saw the reach out.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one can be perfect. You can't especially when you're not physically around the person and
Well, and also
able
because
to
everyone's
really
told to
understand
hide
a
their
certain
feelings.
person. So go ahead.
Well, the other part too is people are taught to hide their feelings. And
Oh
so,
yeah, especially in the army.
yeah,
Ooh,
it's just a thing.
especially in my generation.
And it's not anything anyone says. Like, they're like, go to therapists, you idiots. And we're like, no, fuck you, that's for homos. They're like, no, it's not. And there's also homos here now, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that kind of is what it was. I mean, we came when we had our unprocessing from Iraq. You go into there was one psych that had to deal with, I'm assuming it was just our troop, which is like 130 dudes.
Right.
Has to come through and say, hey, are you fucked up? It's like, I don't think so.
So halfway through, they're like, yeah, I get it. Nothing happened.
How fucked up are you? It's like, I guess I'm not fucked up. I mean, can I go to the next thing that I got to go to? Because I got my DT-14 next door.
They ask you at the wrong time, because it's like just before, like, I'd like to go home now. And they're like, well, before you go home, I need you to talk to this lady. And if you say the wrong thing, you're not going to get to go home. And you're like, well, I'm going to say all the right things and fuck off now. And, like, I'm sure that's not the plan, but regrettably, that's how the system works a lot of times. Is you get screened at a time where it's just worth it for you to lie.
Well,
But,
your
like,
adrenaline is still up.
yeah. Even if it's like months later, you're still like fucking A. Like it's still in there. And I think there's a policy now. I need to double check or whatever. But I think they're
It sounds
doing.
like it's gotten better
Yeah, they do a
since
check
when
like
I
6 months
that.
afterwards, and because in critical incident stress management that FEMA teaches, I think it's FEMA. I need to check on who's run
Oh
CISM,
no.
but that
Not,
is
not FEMA.
well,
Are
they
you
got
gonna put
good.
me in a camp?
They get good paperwork.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
They're fun. Well, FEMA's just too big. It's too many people trying to do one thing, and so they can't. Like, it's like the Three Stooges. They can't all fit through the same door, fellas. Like that's the problem with like large organizations. It's why the Army looks goofy and the Air Force looks silly, and it's why we try to do. And don't get me wrong, like the American military is the fiercest fighting machine in all of human history, and there are teenagers who could end all of human life right now, and that's fantastic in a certain way. But like it's also fucking silly in a lot of ways too, and it's just because of how big the thing is that it can't help but be goofy and cumbersome and fumble at times because it's a big creature. I don't know. That was weird.
That's true. No.
I ate an edible, folks, and it's
That actually
awesome.
worked out. I good diatribe. I liked it.
Yeah, buddy. I had a weed gummy today. Let's see. Let's give the weed gummies a plug, shall we? We don't have sponsors because the Deployed from Detroit sponsors the School of Leadership and Madness. Because we're crazy. But these are good. This is I got a red light on, folks, and this is red text.
Should I ensure that I'm not drinking a beer in front of the camera?
Oh, the light,
I
the halo
don't-
behind it. Oh, I had an E5, or it could be an EV, maybe depending, but it's probably E5. 200 milligram.
I don't know how the YouTube works.
I think magic. There's probably a dwarf involved, maybe an elf. Could be a gypsy, unless that's offensive.
Oh, you know who it is? It's the guy at the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Just pulling levers.
I always
The
liked the
background.
Gremlins from the Kremlin. Did you ever see that cartoon?
What's
For
that?
some reason, when I was growing up, I watched a lot of World War II training films, like the cartoons and shit. I think I had them on a tape, and they were like Looney Tunes
That's crazy.
cartoons from World War II. But there's this awesome one called Gremlins from the Kremlin.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's so sweet. It's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. It's got Hitler and stuff in an airplane. I don't know if Hitler's the best sell. The airplane's kind of cool.
Oh well, you just wrote Godwin's Law.
Uh-oh, yeah. Son of a bitch.
It's all right. It's all right. Our future president's already done that once. So
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like, it makes sense, but it's also like, all right. Because you call someone
Well-
a Nazi because then you're like, now I win and now I get to do whatever I want to you. Because it's the same
Yeah,
thing
that's-
as like, you're Sauron, you're an orc, you're a Frankenstein, you're a vampire.
that's the weird thing of invoking Hitler. I mean, Hitler is like the opposite of Jesus.
Right.
It's like, I mean, I guess Hitler is a little bit more recent, and we got historical documents about
True.
how bad he was.
And Jesus' name in English would be Josh King, and that's kind of interesting.
Josh King.
Yeah, Jesus
thought it was-
is...
I thought it was all. I thought it was all the Mexicans with the name Jesus.
No, Jesus is from the Latinization of it, but in anglicized,
I
it's
know.
Joshua, which is delightful. And then Christ is just king, I think, wasn't it? Or if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm way
I
the
don't
fuck
know. I
wrong.
don't know my biblical.
Go ahead and correct us at dfd.slm at deployedfromdetroit.com and tell us we don't know shit about the
Yeah.
Bible.
Don't be a bitch.
That's Bible talk. Don't be a bitch. Yeah, we should do a show called Don't Be a Bitch About the Bible. And then just get people who stutter and have other speech impediments to talk about the Bible.
Hey, I don't have a speech impediment. I'm just drunk.
Not yet. Dude, the world is a vampire. Yeah. So, yeah, gang, because we're trying to figure all kinds of nonsense on the professional side. We're still working our nonprofit. It's still not making any profits, so we're doing quite well there. That's the plan. Though we do have some ventures coming up. I'm not going to lead too much on that. But the idea is, rather than tell you what the idea is, I'll tell you what the root of the idea is. Because we're trying to figure out, and maybe this can help somebody else too, but we're trying to figure out what we're already good at. Like, I'm a fantastic chef. I forget what shit's called a lot, and other goofy things these days. But I can cook anything you put in front of me, and I'll make it taste just fine. And that's always been a skill of mine. So maybe I'll do like a cooking show, or maybe I could do a restaurant, or a food truck, or this, or that, or this. I don't know. We got different ideas of like, what's some shit I'm like, I know what I want to do. Well, what is it that I can do today? And so, like, I don't know. We don't have definites on that, but that's where we're at in some of the processes, is figuring out how do we get to the deployment center? How do we get to these avenues where we have one place where everyone can go to get all the help they need? So do we start building these chunks, or, you know, what can we build now that's going to turn into that later?
So actually, Steve, this actually made me think about what you were saying here, and as your skill set.
Yeah.
So there's a place down here in Mesa, a Marine that ended up just figuring out how to make cider.
Mm-hmm.
Hard cider, obviously.
Nice.
Because he's a Marine. And, you know, I mean,
born at a bar.
Why not?
Yeah.
He's got a bar now.
I know.
Got featured on local news. I've actually been through there.
Yeah.
I was pretty plastered at the time, so I didn't realize it was the same place that I've already been. But I mean, his whole thing was, and he was. It sounds like he was not like a frontline. He wasn't an infantryman,
right?
I guess every Marine is an infantryman, but
they'll
fuck that shit. They're not all infantrymen.
Oh, fight.
Oh, hardcore.
That's true. There's going to be some like 0311 types. They're like, fuck you. That's right, buddy. Ugh. I love it. Because it's fun when you hear like Marines call other Marines pussies, and you're like, wait a minute. There's more levels to this? No! It is fun. Just the goofiness. There's not a whole lot differentiating what's serious and what's not serious about it, but it is, I don't know. Oh yeah, let's not veer off the path. Like creating opportunities from things you're already good at. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, some of the things that I wanted to do are pretty much locked down now at this point.
I was going to open a strip club for the blind. All touching. Jake.
That's kind of like a strip club in Utah.
Oh, really? Did they have strip clubs in Utah?
They did.
Is
when
it
I
real
was
buttoned up or like
there
real
doing training.
Gross. I could see
them. No. Mormon chicks are fucking hot.
Oh, for sure. But like, did they get?
They got pasties.
Oh, okay.
Or they did at my time.
Right.
When I was there. So it was like right at the point when Utah was kind of liberalizing a little bit.
Because super conservative areas sometimes have just aggressively disgusting behavior in those clubs where you're like, Jesus. Like super sweet, nice Buddhist Thailand. Hello. And then ping pong.
Well, no. I mean, I was still Ari at the time. So I mean, we weren't going into the like dog fault
into the
area.
hills and stuff. There's this gal who hides behind a sheet, and you're like, I'm in. I need to get my buddy on. I don't think he's
like if I'm going to a strip club, I want to see some titties. I don't want to just look at pasties.
I suppose
on those things. I want to see the whole thing.
It's such an odd like. I understand that there is appeal for it. However, there's so much awkwardness involved on my own that it is my own hang up. Like I would definitely, if I was ever at an orgy, it would be because I was tricked. or I was talked into it by someone who's like, it'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And then the whole time I'll just be eating celery.
How did we go? How did we go?
I'm just saying I'm shy, buddy.
How did we go from strip clubs to orgies?
It's the same.
How did we go from orgies?
It's the same.
How did we go to a
gross
strip
vibe.
club to an orgy?
It's too many. I can smell people's hormones. I think. I don't know. I don't. Too many people in sweatpants around. It's fucked up, buddy. I don't like it.
Pants. How many?
I don't know.
What,
I don't
in
go
the
to good
orgy?
strip clubs. I haven't been to
I'm
Atlanta or
very-
anything. I don't know. I haven't been any place where you need to wear a tie. It's always been like Deja Vu or something. And some of
Oh,
them
I
are
didn't know.
terrific, and some of them are like, oh, a car accident just happened and everyone needs another job. Cool. But most of the time, it's pretty great. I mean, I shouldn't be that shitty. That's rude of me. It's my fucking sexual hang-up making it weird. It's not the gals. They're actually, most of the time, they're having a good time. Which, like, because there's the sad story thing of like, oh, they're all just bummed out, and some of them are. But most of them are like, this is cool. Deet.
I mean,
Fuck
that's
you,
what they
asshole.
get. That's what they got to do. I mean, I've been to
'cause it's
strip
like
clubs.
This
Frequently.
much work, and then these
Not,
idiots
not
are
in,
just
not in
shitting
a
cash.
long ass time.
No.
I mean,
I've
literally.
been in an
Well,
age.
I guess last year I shouldn't talk about that though.
Ooh. I was there with Senator so-and-so and Congressman other.
Uh,
Dude, you know what I find interesting about strip clubs is
the weirdness.
well, I mean, yeah, like the communal weirdness is so cool. Like it's so fucked up, but like I love any form of communal weirdness. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show is probably my favorite movie, and I'm all weirded out by strip clubs. So go fucking figure. I'm a dichotomy upon. I'm nothing but contradictions. So that's me.
We're all contradictions.
Oh, for sure. Because, like, yeah, I'm sitting there like, oh, let's put on thigh highs and watch a movie. But, like, ooh, I'm not going to sit here and watch these people do this. Who knows? Hang-ups, man. They're crazy.
I don't know what that means. That
You
was
do.
very confusing.
What's confusing?
All of it.
Yes! Rocky Horror Picture Show is the greatest film in human history. Speaking of
So
which,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
are you... Jesus, Stephen, what movies have you
I've seen parts. I've seen sections.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't know if I saw it when I was too young. Maybe. But fucking A. It is a fun.
I know I saw a Total Recall way too young.
Yeah, dude, me too.
Three tits.
That whole like, and that whole era when we were growing up was all that body horror shit was on TV, like The Thing, and
I've never seen The Thing.
Recall. Yeah, I think that was on TNT or something. Like there would be just aggressive shit on television, and then no one's around or whatever. So like you're flipping through after Rugrats, and all of a sudden someone's split in half, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
This is weird.
And it's fine that it's there, but there's no context, and so it's just like, what the fuck was that?
So I mean, I grew up on Schwarzenegger flicks. I mean, that was
Oh, yeah.
my big.
Get to the
That was
chopper.
the big thing for my dad. I mean, he doesn't watch movies like at all anymore
Yeah,
because he's old and doesn't really give a shit anymore.
for this shit. Yeah.
But he just like every week I was like, hey, son, daddy day, let's find a violent flick to watch. Just like here you go.
When see these films get split in half, you're like, no.
Let's watch Commando tonight.
Jesus. Yeah, I'd go see Star Trek and shit. We saw all the nerd movies and stuff, which in hindsight, thank you. I'm actually really glad for that. In
See, I had like a weird dichotomy as you've already produced.
It's a fun one.
I had a weird dichotomy between the two. I mean, my mom was a big sci-fi fan.
Mm.
My dad was just, like a big strong guy just killing shit.
Yeah.
It is like weird convergence between the two.
We had sci-fi and rock and roll, and it was
Oh,
just
rock and roll was a big thing.
my mom liked one kind of sci-fi and rock and roll, and my dad liked another kind of sci-fi and rock and roll. And that was about there are further differences in it, but in how it's exercised.
Oh yeah,
But like the gist of it's kind of that. It's pretty interesting. That's how you end up with like
Weirdness.
this is for sure copywritten. We're gonna take it off the internet, folks. Fuck it.
Well, as long as you don't say anything about voting rights.
Right, that's right. Everyone stop voting. JK. No, it's already over. This is being filmed. Don't worry. Never mind. America's fine. We'll be fine. You Nancy's.
I know. I mean, it's funny as shit to me. Oh, this whole shit is so fucking hilarious to me.
It is like it's just silliness and it's it's what some people need to realize is that it's WWE and you're being taken for a ride, and like I fell for it too. We all fall for it because there are people who get paid millions of dollars to make you fall for it. So don't blame yourself for that shit. But like, yeah, it's fucking wrestling, yo. Like they're just playing it, and like what's unfortunate is that there's some people who just like. Do you ever see that one video of that one fella who's like, "It's still real to me, god damn it, it's still real to me," and like.
So I don't think I did, but here's the strange thing, because I see everybody just like going into their camps again in such extremities,
Yeah,
that it just confuses me. So I didn't vote for Donnie in 2016. I voted for a third party. I did vote for him this last round.
Party.
What's that?
I voted for a fourth party, like Taco
Who's
Bell.
Did you vote for Jar Jar Binks?
No, Ted Nugent. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you should have.
Dude, I think I voted for Mickey Mouse once before in a write-in. I've definitely voted for Rob Zombie before.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was like, fuck this. And it's not a lie. I would have rather had Rob Zombie in that position.
Well, damn.
I don't know if you can be elected on a pseudonym.
I'm gonna have to start learning how to play fucking zombie.
Dude, Rob Zombie's the man. I would love to
white zombie or Rob Zombie though.
All of it, because it's such interesting things he's trying to do each time. It's like different books. Like it's the same author writing different books almost. I think. Like I'll give him that credit because it's the same way. Like it's not the same as Bowie because Bowie changed fucking genres half the time and like he was completely different people.
Bowie always kind of had the same theme though, going through his shit.
To a degree, I would say there's always something about someone sort of being
bewildered. But actually, no, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking of a wrong artist. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But like his appearance was always pretty dramatic. But like I could see like there's always a threat of somebody like just completely bewildered that life is happening to them. Is kind of a Bowie theme of like, what the fuck is going on? That's probably most Bowie songs. Like, what's happening to me? This is crazy. Holy shit. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. But he does it well. But what was I saying, David Bowie? I forgot. I had an edible, folks.
I don't know. I might have to look him up. So I'm an idiot.
Do you not know David Bowie? Jeez, oh Pete, Steve Reno. See, this is why we need to be able to play music, folks. So I can be like, look, this is David Bowie.
I'm not gonna. It's not gonna take me long here.
David Bowie. David Bowie, for those of you who don't know, how dare you? But that's the first. You have no reason to know this part though, so don't worry. The first celebrity who ever died who I was like had any kind of like holy shit about, where like usually they'll be like so and so dies, you go, well, shit happens, and then like David Bowie died, and like I didn't know he was sick because I don't think anybody kind of knew. I don't know, but I didn't have too much inclination. But like I'd always been a huge fan of his, and then like it was just crazy that I got into a real big kick, and then he died. And then I listened to his last album, and like that just definitely drove it home because like his last album was almost like his own.
Oh, he did a cover of The Man Who Sold the World.
Yeah, dude.
Who by the way, the original writer of that, Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah, a lot of Dylan songs suck, but are way better when they're covered.
All
Along
definitely.
the Watchtower is so much more brutal by Hendrix. But Dylan even admits that. Though, a number of times.
Hendrix is a fucking beast.
Yeah, he was in the
I
Air
can't
Force.
even. I can't even imagine how that motherfucker managed to do.
Wait, am I talking out my ass? Was Jimi Hendrix?
Well, that's why he got kicked out. I mean, he literally got kicked out because he didn't want to. He got drafted, and he just like, I don't give a shit. He got
He was at Fort Campbell in Kentucky.
He got force drafted.
Oh snap! 1961.
Which one?
Bowie
or
Jimi Hendrix was. Hendrix. Where's this? Let me.
Was he Air Force?
No, he was in the Army. I had that wrong.
Yeah.
He was with the 101st.
Yeah, he got the prospect, go to war or go to jail.
Oh,
and he got kicked. He got kicked out pretty early because he was unable. I mean, that's a really good position to take. It's like, hey, do I go to jail or do I go to war? It's like, oh well, I'll
1961's not a bad time
as long as I can.
That's
so
right.
They kick me out anyways.
Korea and just before Vietnam. So
it's he was it was right during that break point.
But it probably wasn't as shitty as the preceding and previous years.
There's not a whole lot of big dudes that came out of Vietnam, huh? Now that I'm thinking, I'm trying to think of like rock stars or actors or shit like that actually served over there. I mean, I know Charlie Sheen did.
What's his face? The director, Stone. The guy who directed Platoon.
But I don't like a lot of his.
I love his shit.
I mean, I like his flicks.
Yeah.
I think he way over.
I think he's like me. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
What's the word I'm looking for? Not overemphasizes, but
he's trying to drive the point home. I think that, and it's the same point that
he makes it bigger than it it was.
Well, but it's also like, I mean, we've said it already too, that it's impossibly big as well, and so it's hard to like scale it the right way, because you need the impact so that people understand that this thing is. Like, how do you make them feel that without having them sit there? Like, how do I do that without, like, killing their mom? Like, it's hard to, like, do Vietnam the right way without, like, shooting their parents in the theater in front of them or something crazy. Like, this is what it was like, you know? Because if you're trying to, like...
Well, that's the issue there. I mean, maybe that's what he experienced. I mean, I and again, it's been a long time since I've looked up at what Oliver Stone went through there.
But that's why, like, my autobiography started turning into a sci-fi story, because, like, in order for me to say the thing that would make you, because I'm less interested in the information and I'm more interested in the emotion for some of the shit.
I understand that. I understand that.
Because I think for me it's a more effective education, because I can tell you the thing and like who gives a shit, but like if I can make your stomach feel that way, then I win. Then then we're closer. Then you and I are now closer. But like I have to do that then through nonsense and sci-fi, because I have to create a situation that I can hype up just enough to squeeze some more elements in, because like I'm trying to fit a fully 3D thing into a two-dimensional where you have to infer my tone, infer all this other nonsense, you know, like it's a pain in the ass. But like I can see why. Like,
I understand that.
Is like damn near kind of, you know, it has its, but like as far as what it sounds like, it's as accurate as it can be. He's got characters that are conglomerates of people, so they share stories, and so you have guys who get Forrest Gump syndrome, who have 8-9 things happen to them, where in reality that happened to 10 guys, and that happened to 4 guys, and that happened to 3 or 4 people, and that's a pretty common thing to do, because you can't, like, it's also hard to introduce 14, 15 different, like, how do you introduce an entire company and tell their stories? Like, they did it on HBO, but it took an entire series to do Easy Company, and they didn't even show you the whole company. They show you like some of the guys, a handful of the guys.
Most of the headquarters and winners.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. And actually, that's kind of where I come from with the after fall thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not necessarily about Iraq, but it's like a kind of realization of how the precipice of civilization just kind of crumbles.
Well, because it's like
At
there's
some
those
point.
Hemingway moments where like we luck out because we have friends who are fans of Hemingway, and I think we're uniquely lucky that we've done shit Hemingway talked about, and we've done things Hemingway dreamed about, and like we're in that same mind. We understand that like it may not be necessary to write a book about Iraq because Iraq may have been about something itself. Like there's the story itself just so happens to have been there, but like there's always something else happening too. Like there's the one story, but then there's the other story. There's there's this is what's happening, but then we could just zoom into the 6-year-old who lives in that town and saw you and your buddies bebopping through the streets, and we could spend and that's just as good a movie as watching you and your buddies bebop through the streets, because the war's that big. There's that much information, but like it's a matter of.
I saw some kids bebopping through the street today, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to fight these kids.
Dangerous little shits. Put your mask on.
Bouncing their basketball, riding their bike. For some reason, kids like collecting around garbage cans. It's so weird.
Yeah, dude.
I've been seeing that like
maybe they'll find cool shit.
I don't know why. I mean, it's full of fucking trash.
Have you ever been broke? You can find cool shit, man. Garbage cans. Some people don't know.
Have I been broke? Have I been broke?
Yeah,
yes,
we've
sir.
all been broke.
And yes, I have done dumpster diving. That
like,
was
who would
a
throw this
requirement
away?
over in Germany.
This is perfectly good.
you know why we had to do dumpster diving? Because the goddamn Krauts did not like the fact that we threw everything into one receptacle.
Oh yeah.
You had to make sure that it was.
You could
properly.
say they were Nazis about it.
Should I not say Krauts?
Well,
I'm German.
that is that. I'm
I'm an
German.
I'm an American, but
Yeah, I'm American as fuck.
and if you could do, I don't even know.
Because I got German blood, but no German would claim me. I got Irish, but the Irish couldn't give a fuck. I got English, but they don't care. I'm American, baby. These are the only people that like me.
Fuck yeah, let's nuke them all. God sort them out.
Nuke them till they glow, as my mom used to say, and that's true.
I've heard that myself from my dad too.
America.
I mean, he
yeah.
already thinks that I was fighting the Iranians. I mean,
Maybe.
no, you're already. Well, I mean, yeah,
We were close.
I
Might
guess
as well
we were.
try.
I guess we were over there, but
I'm sure there was at least 8. Some dude jumping the fence like, yes.
actually, it was more Saudis than any other foreign fighters.
How is that? Is that place actually being controlled? That one always confuses me, Saudi Arabia. Because there's the king and the prince and there's all that thing. And then
It's a mess.
Oh, there's
It's a
all
mess.
these wild tribes of people we can't control doing reckless shit. And you're like, oh. So why do you have a king if they can't control, like, what the fuck, man? Why pretend to have a government? Why do we give these people all this money if they can't keep their shit together?
Well, there has been
I don't
a
know.
lot
I
of
don't know shit about
play
shit,
between
folks.
them, between us and them. I mean,
Yeah.
Iraq's now knocked over, but now Iraq's a mess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not ultimately good players in that area, but like,
I mean, no one's a good player on the internet. I mean, I'm a realist when it comes to
yeah.
geopolitics.
Because it's always a good idea
So
that
I
someone
look
else
at I
fucks up.
look at these things and specifics like who are we gonna make sure that the best outcome occurs?
Yeah, and that's always
For
hard
America.
to do. Well, and
it's-
not even
it's
necessarily
a tough
for
decision.
America. It's like for whoever's making the decision. And that's even more so problematic because
Well, I mean those two those two things combine though at the same time.
One would hope,
You know, because
but like
there's two there's well, not combined, I shouldn't say, but
defending American
they kind of
interests.
they cross. There's ideologies within
Yeah.
international politics.
When we stretch our
And-
values for it, that bums me out. But like I get it. Like we get put in these like rock and a hard place situations where, well, they shot him. Fuck, we got to do something now. And I mean, technically, we don't have to do anything. We could have got 9/11 and just be like, well, that sucks, and moved on. But also, no, we have a nation full of people. We have like all the things.
Well,
happened
9/11
because
had to be responded to.
It was
I mean, there's a reason why that we're in Afghanistan. I mean, there.
for the most part. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to. I hear a lot of like hey, why are we fighting in Afghanistan and shit like that. Yes, there was a fuck up tactically, operationally
Yeah. It was
in our
Alex-
response to
because it wasn't even like,
the situation.
did Alexander the Great successfully conquer Afghanistan, or did he just pass through?
And he just kind of said, "Fuck it, I'm done with the area."
Because as far as I know, like historically, it's never really been conquered. Like it's just the terrain is such a goddamn
The
nightmare.
The Mongols kind of got there,
But
the
didn't they
Mughals,
just
I should
like?
say.
It was kind of like an independent thing of just like
Yes, it's not a
they
not a happy
prevented
place
other
to fight.
people from conquering it.
It
Kinda.
is not a happy place to fight. I completely understand that, and now I'm not a
Yeah.
Afghan vet,
I
so
never
I don't
stepped
know
foot there, so-
enough on the ground.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. That's all, folks. I can't. But yeah, no. Historically, like that region is always a bit of a shit show, and those people are always historically independent, which you like. They're just not gonna listen. Like the idea of someone else coming through is, and that's not universal.
The
but-
problem was that they projected force against
Yeah.
outside of that area.
Well,
And yes, that
problem is that-
was mostly due to a network of a disposition network
right.
that could
Because they
not.
didn't really have before that, because like there was the Taliban government, but that wasn't really like there kind of sort of wasn't real government in that country, which was wild.
There was.
But it was
And,
very
and
much
now
de
I'm gonna
facto and localized.
if we're gonna discuss Afghanistan, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to let me get another beer.
Ooh, hey now, yeah, drug
love it.
politics. Yeah, because I'm curious, because Afghanistan's a tribal spot. Tribal spots never do well for civilized forces. Yeah. He's got thoughts of brewing, folks. Thoughts of brewing. I mean, it's not to say that they don't have the ability to succeed. The Americans eventually succeeded over the Native Americans. The British colonialists succeeded over the Africans when they went over in the 1800s. The cost is bananas. Like if you look at the Zulu Wars, it doesn't fucking make sense sometimes. And then other times it does. Like when you see them advance their firearms, the numbers get dramatic, and that's usually how they end up losing too. Is like typically a bow and arrow could handle a musket, but like once you had repeating fire weapons, like you just end of story, folks. That was shit out of luck. If you had somebody who had to fire one shot and required them to reload, you could take their ass. But once you had repeating rifles and anything kind of like that, breech loading weapons, that things that were faster, that was the end of those days. But what can you do? History, huh? It's an odd thing because you have to deal with the survivors. You always have to deal with the survivors. And deal with is a shitty term. But you have to understand that, like, you're not going to decimate. You can't exterminate them all. Humans are that wily that we're very difficult to wipe out. For all these genocides, there's still people around. And that's not to diminish the genocides. Holy smokes. But, like, they're never successful in the way they plan. And what is the point of that? I'm spiraling into, like, I'm catching myself in, like, a weird, the PC part of my brain's like, you've said something. You probably should stop. Now I've forgotten what I was saying, folks. That's how my brain works, or doesn't, depending on your definition of working. Let's see. Here he comes, folks. Here I come on the run with a burger and a bun. Oh no. Hang on, folks. I'm getting attacked. I know. Dead air. This is great. I love you. I love you too. Psycho. Crazy. Sorry. Man, this edible is fucking wonderful. Though I'm sort of losing my... I've always been a bit of a talker, folks. But I'm losing some of my... the threads between the words. Coherency. Yeah. It's beginning to get stretchy. Who knows? All right. I'm going to probably end this here. No, Steve's coming back with a beer for Afghanistan. All right, we're just going to talk about the war, but be fucked up. This is fine. This is Deployed for Detroit School of Leadership and Madness, where we do dumb things for dumb reasons. Love you. Steve-O, save me. He's back. Here he is, folks. For our audience at home. I'm going to shut up. Okay, he's coming back. All right, stop it. Now I'm beating myself up. For any of you guys who are nutty, is that a thing you do? I do that constantly. Where I'm just talking shit to myself. It's problematic. Because I can get mean, and I say some mean shit. You fucking piece of shit. What the fuck do you think you're doing? I'm just playing Minecraft, man. Oh, okay. So I've got some messages. People are going to bed. Bedtime for bonzos. Yep, that's what it is, folks. Those musical interludes, that's gotta be fun. Stony baloney. Coming up with thoughts. Steve-O, where you at? I'm not talking about it. Now his smoke detector's going off. He's burning his apartment down, folks. This is the army. This is what... Army of one. Army strong. Army lift heavy things. That was a funny one for a while. When they had that Army strong as their motto, there was also one going around at the same time as the Geico ones where it was like, Army, so easy a caveman can do it. I do love the Army, though. The shit they accomplish is wild. The scale of it is something Caesar would shit his britches. Okay, so Iggy's in bed. Paul's been trying to wrestle his kids to bed, and he's probably hitting the hay himself, because that's got to be fucking exhausting. He's got 4 of them in there. And not a one of... Well, I think one of them's probably old enough to babysit the others, but... That's got to be... I can't... I mean, quarantine's got to be nutty. I'm sitting here bouncing dumb thoughts off of my head. I can't imagine if you got a house full of fucking people. That's got to be... Oh, I'm sure that must have gotten old months ago. Well. Alright, folks. Here's what's happening. I'm getting high enough to the point where I'm going to lose coherency. And I'd like to not do that. So, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thanks for hanging out, gang. Before we get all bananas, I'm going to have Steve-O hold off. And we can talk about the technicalities of Afghanistan at a later date. Because I'm sure that's interesting, too. For some of y'all. But for the most part, you know who we are. We're a pack of psychos. We do our thing. Here he comes. He's going to start talking about it. It's wonderful. We got dfd.slm at deployedfromdetroit.com. Do your thing. Hey, Steve.
Did you enjoy my
What? Yeah, is that
You
your
enjoy that?
what is that? Your fire alarm detector or what is it? My words are
Yeah. I'm not supposed to be smoking in here.
this is gonna be wild, dude. My that edible I had a few hours ago. I'm starting to like not string my words together, so I was thinking about calling it soon. You got any? You feel like closing it? Uh-oh. See, he's walking away. See, this is what I'm thinking about, just closing it, folks. You know how it is. You've seen us before, right? If you haven't seen us before, this is not the first episode to watch. I swear to God. Go find something more interesting, folks. The title is A Sneak Attack. That was me just being a dickhead today. That's fun, right?
Well, that made sense. I left the heater on the oven, and I found
Oh.
my lighter. I was
Well,
just like, fuck it.
just burn the
Found my
place down,
lighter.
why don't you?
It's just not a cook, man. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of shit burning down there.
Yeah.
Like, I love making eggs. So it's like my specialty.
Very nice. I don't know that I have a specialty. I can cook just about anything. I can make pretty much any kind of gravy or sauce or soup. I'm pretty good
I
at
don't
that.
like gravy though. Oh.
Well, I'll make some. You'll like it. What part don't you like?
Just I don't know.
Is it
That's
the
weird.
texture, the taste, the smell? Is it too slimy? Too
Slimy.
sticky? Yeah, they're making the gravy wrong. They're
And
not.
that's spiced enough.
Yeah, you need more black pepper, and you need to cook it longer. A lot of people like the roux starts to look thick, but it needs to cook for like about a half hour before it's like as thick as it's gonna get, and so you can get kind of slimy with your gravy if you don't give it enough time. And then also some canned stuff may have, but you can also like cut that out by thinning it out with a little bit of milk. That's the most I think, or butter. Butter helps smooth it out so that it coats the tongue a little bit better. And then black pepper just gives it some more aroma, and then bam, you're good to go, man. Put that over some toast, some biscuits, fucking chicken. Who cares? It's yummy.
I don't know. That's like I've got very few hangups on where I used to like food.
Mm.
You already pretty much put
Yeah.
me off and like got rid of most of my hangups on things. Like,
Yeah. The only thing I never
number one.
like got into was like fish, and the military didn't cure that because they always had other options.
See, that's the thing. I love fish. I still love fish.
Ugh, not me. It's
Shellfish,
the oiliness
dead
and like
fish,
the
anything
aromatic,
fish.
like
Oh,
the breathiness. I can't deal with that.
oh,
'Cause it has
you
the
wanna
same,
hear
like-
one of the worst. You
It's
want
like
to
a
hear one of the
perfume.
worst fish that I've ever had?
Mm.
I can't remember what town it was. It was a fucking random German town. But
Nice.
I've always been a big fan of fish.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, well, I'm not quite sure what any of this menu means, but I guess I'll get this. It sounds like fish.
Mhm.
Well, it was a fish.
Yeah.
Scales and eyeballs and
Yes.
everything.
Dude, that's
And
the
I
risk
looked
of
at
getting
it,
a
it's like,
fish.
holy fuck.
I get that we should respect that this is once a living thing, but I don't have to like do that while I'm eating.
I mean, they're fish.
Allow
They're
me to
fish.
sin in privacy. I understand that I'm a demon for destroying this poor creature, but I'm hungry, damn it. One must destroy to live. That's an unfortunate thing.
I mean, yeah, that is
Yummy,
a weird,
yummy.
bizarre thing. Where did I come off before I decided to
Talking fish, yo.
alight my
Oh, biscuits and gravy. Oh, we were going to talk about Afghanistan, and then I was going to sign off because you were taking forever.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But we can talk
Are you,
about
are you
Afghanistan.
are you still willing to sign off? I mean,
I
that's
mean-
up to you. I mean, I've already identified the fact that I'm not going to be able to run 10 miles tomorrow.
Word. Well, I've got my concern is that my edible's kicking in, and I wouldn't mind just riding it out and maybe seeing if I couldn't get some sleep in. Cause what's your sleep like? I sleep for shit. Do you have any like?
I sleep weird,
Yeah.
especially since I've got to adjust for work
Mm-hmm.
due to work in multiple states and things like that.
Yeah.
So Arizona does not have daylight savings time.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that we will now because I mean we got to be
Democrats.
all on the same. Yeah. No.
Thanks, Obama.
You know I'll actually like to tell you this, and this is something that's a little weird, and maybe it's painful for me, but so I voted for Donnie. I know you went the other direction.
I think I did, yeah. He and I both forget.
It was probably the hardest decision I've ever made in my electoral life.
You're like, which
actually,
boat do I set on
I
fire?
do not like Donnie that much. I think Donnie's a piece of shit for the most part.
Yeah.
But there's things that I see in the background that worry me.
Yeah, there is that still.
He doesn't worry me that much.
Biden's a nice guy. The machine he comes with is scary. I get that. Because it's like business as usual, folks. Like, well, hang on. Like, yeah, the current guy sucks, but now that the curtains are exposed, we can see some crazy shit in the machine room. And then we kind of know that with the next, there is the possibility that with the next administration, like the curtains get closed again. And like that is that weird benefit, like whether or not you like the current president, the most interesting thing about him is you get to see just exactly how stable this boat is. Like all the leaks are present, a lot of people are like, holy shit, it held together. All right, cool. And a lot of people are like, oh fuck, it's falling apart. You're like, well, not really. You know, they're like,
that's a good analogy. I like it.
Well, because it's even amazing. There's the people who are like, oh no, like we could, the president's not conceding. And like, well, it's not necessary. And like, it's an amazing thing to see that like, oh, there's the electoral college. There's this state does electoral votes differently.
Well, here's one of the bizarre things that I absorbed during the last couple of weeks of the election.
Mercury.
And oh, did you watch the anti-vax debates?
No,
because that was the big thing on there.
Oh, dude, those poor people. I wish because this is something I was considering just as a crazy person, right? I know. So I'll say this: I'm a smart person. I'm well aware that I'm a pretty intelligent
you're crazy, but you're logical, at least to a degree.
Right. I have some capability.
I mean, no one's expected to be completely
right. Well,
set up.
What's interesting is I have that intelligence, but it's informed by my environment and experience, and then it's filtered by history and malady, and so I'm this brilliant person with dog shit thoughts. And that's an interesting thing about me is I realize like I have horrible, stupid thoughts, and then then in turn it makes it difficult to think that I'm a smart person because I have all these dumb thoughts. But then I have to remember hang on, I'm losing the thread of this, but there was a key. Where were we before this?
I was well, it was something about Afghanistan,
and politics though. It was on the line of. Say, oh, the brain is doing wonderful thing. The PTSD thing, the sleep thing. We were there. We were.
Well, you were going along a line of that everything's kind of fucked up.
Yes.
And trying to figure out what that all means.
Oh yeah. Well, we mentioned.
I went higher than what you were expecting, but go ahead.
But I think we can even pull something else from that, like whether or not this is connected. Like Plato's allegory of the cave is cool. Plato's allegory of the cave is a conversation between, I think it's Socrates and Glaucon. And if you don't know who they are, check it out. It's awesome. I got a Socrates tattoo because it's the shit.
Oh, nice. Ooh, that's fancy.
Can you guess why I got this one?
I also see chaos.
I got
snake.
My octopus.
Oh, that's an octopus. I thought it was a snake.
I got octopuses, baby. And then
you're just waiting for him to Yeah, I never got a tattoo, man. I mean,
It's like acupuncture because I have that chronic pain shit, so it constantly hurts. But I get a tattoo annually, and it's like getting a massage because it actually hurts for real.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Like the actual pain is a nice distraction, and it causes the rest of my body to chill out. Which I don't get it, but I'm not paid to get it, so whatevs.
I had one element of, or one time that I went to an Asian, what do you call them, a massage therapist, but it was not a massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a not like a sexual. No,
Oh, okay.
It wasn't one of those.
Okay. I was surprised. I got an actual massage. It was kind of weird.
No, it was worse. I felt like John McCain coming out of that
Oh,
place.
Jesus.
She beat the fuck out of me
Dude, I love that.
the entire time. I mean, it was
When
just
they-
like, why are you playing with my feet? Why stop my
Restring your
my
ass
feet
like
are-
a piano. It's
Oh.
fucking great.
my feet my feet are so fucked up, man.
Dude, mine are
They're
bad.
just like all the running I do.
Ugh. Yeah.
Oh, it hurt. It hurt. And then she's like, "Hey, let me look at your back." She stands on your back.
Nice.
By the way, just like does a little dance,
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
and it hurt. Like
Gang's here.
I felt like coming out of the Hanoi Hilton,
Dude. Oh, it's
John
gnarly.
and that's gonna bring me back to what I was saying here.
Yeah, no.
So that's why fucking Donnie lost Arizona
Oh, yeah.
specifically. It's just like, there's a lot of loud folks that yell about John McCain and all that
Mhm.
shit, but he's important down here.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can dislike him for his politics,
Who, John McCain?
but you can't. Yeah,
John. I like John
he
McCain.
he was more of a war hawk than I
he
think
would
you
start
are.
fights, but he also had good follow through for the troops. He was good at following
Oh,
through
yeah,
for the troops. So even if he was going to
But-
pick a fight, he was going to make sure that the people fighting were taken care of. Which I can get behind that. Like if you're going to pick the fight, at least make sure the people doing the job can do it. Don't
And
because
he
there were a lot of
worked all
politicians.
the way until his death too.
Yeah.
I mean, he died in office.
Because there's a lot of
And-
motherfuckers who send us over there, and then they restrict people from doing their jobs, and they create these ridiculous goddamn rules, and they're pretending that they can do this uncivilized activity in a civilized way. And it's like there's no real good way to like bomb a village, folks. So either we do the thing or we don't.
That's true. I mean, there is a way to prosecute war correctly without being, assholes.
Right, but we can never
Like, I mean,
pretend.
you don't want to be the Nazis. You
Right.
don't want to like round up. I mean,
It should be done out of love.
God wins the law there.
Yeah, you should regret the thing before you do it, but you should it should be a thing that on your list of options, this is all you've got left in many cases. Because in most cases, especially with the amount of force we can bring to bear, you can just scare people away. And if you do need to fire something, you fire one big thing and they fuck off. But the weird needle dicky kind of spooky shit, all it does is we're in 20 years we're going to have people old enough to kill us who have good reason to.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a weird thing.
There's going to be a lot of drone orphans coming for us.
So I do remember that when I was in fancy college, being my intellectual self here and having to go through all that college and all that shit.
Wait.
I remember right off the bat, I was being
How'd these
told
get dirty?
America was not going to be a superpower within 10 years.
Yeah, that's always a fun. The estimates they give you are so silly.
Well, it was in Indonesian, or not, Madagascar.
Mm.
Actually, it was during a internet international politics. It was right after I got off
Yeah.
the plane, right when I went into college, and
Because it's definitely in decline, but I don't know that it's a 10-year decline. It might be more of a 25.
well, I mean, it can be different between whether it's a steep decline or if it's a subtle decline.
And it's also 100% avoidable, but our behavior is pushing the decline, which it
True.
typically does
I
for
mean,
empires.
Well, yeah, yeah. I do have a big belief that the fact that things happen more rapidly than
The
they
bigger
used
you
to.
are, the faster it happens. And it's bigger dominoes,
Well,
really.
Exactly. Yeah, information occurs faster.
Impacts more people.
Actions. I mean, look at it this way. It took what 400 years for the Roman Empire to die
Yeah.
after it became an empire.
Right. And then even
It
then, it
took-
didn't necessarily die. It became another thing in most cases.
Well, I mean, it kind of. I mean, I guess
It
I could
evolved
get
and
it.
atrophied, and like Rome became the church. And it was
Well,
just
the Vatican, but it was also the Holy Roman Empire as well. And
that was mostly
then-
just so they didn't have to pay for an army. Because like what Rome did is Rome became very savvy, and they said, how do we keep this money instead of spending this fucking money? So they became everybody's friend. They didn't have an army, and they just paid for mercenaries and like just wheeling and dealing. And like it was the same, a similar lineage, not always the same. But the people who were balling in Rome have been balling in Rome since Rome was Rome, because that's just how Rome fucking rolls. Like the empire itself just decided to administer different shit and left the people behind, or took care of them in different ways. But ultimately, like, yeah, you lost bathhouses and you lost like big chunks of the infrastructure. But Rome, the thing that stayed Roman, abandoned that and decided to just run churches and
Well, I mean, Rome never really. Okay. I saw the through line at the end there.
because like administratively, technically, legally, yes, you could say like 640 or 460 something or what, I forget the exact date. You know, they say Rome fell or. But
I think
as
it
far
was
as like
the 1600s or something like that.
like
I
if
mean,
you
it
want
was-
to push it back, because even like Byzantium was the Eastern Roman Empire.
Oh yeah.
lasted for-
I'm a big fan of
hell yeah, dude.
Byzantium.
That place
I
was sick.
1453, I think it was when
The Mamluks.
Noom, when the Islam's over
took over Constantinople.
through it. I say Islam's.
Was it the Mamluks? The Mamluks.
No. It was the Ottomans.
Constantinople. How do I spell the thing? Thank you, Google, for doing my job. So I tried it, folks, but we're gonna keep going.
It's all right. I've already got it here. I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
Follow Constantinople. The capture of the Byzantines.
1453.
Meheb second. Yeah,
Nice.
later called the Conqueror.
Mehmet.
Yeah,
Is it
I
Mehmet or
read a
Mehmet?
book on that. Actually, over in Iraq too, which was
And
weird.
It's interesting too. I've read I don't know if I read a Greek account or if I heard a Greek account, but then I didn't read the Arabic account. I think I for sure heard that one. But it's interesting to hear both sides presented as the good guy. Like in each ones, they present the other as sort of the bad guy, but for the most part, it's more so each side's focus is on how they're the good one. And it's interesting to hear like the Greek struggle versus the other struggle, and they're both.
Well, that's
doing
an
the same-
interesting thing that they thought themselves as Greeks at that point.
Right.
I mean, that's still kind of where
They went to, like,
the
an older
Orthodox
tradition.
Church is. I mean, obviously they're not there anymore because
Yeah.
Islam is in charge of
Because
Islam.
I think they enjoyed the idea of Romanness, but I think they liked the idea that their Greek side of things was a little bit more sophisticated. Because like Rome was the dirty Western hillbillies, whereas like Eastern Rome was
Well, yeah,
the
I mean,
ballers.
Western Rome was just a mess. They were they were dealing with
Yeah, it was almost like a north versus south
Vandals,
divide.
the fucking pretty much all the Germanic
There was
crazies
no
just
trade.
rolling through.
Well, I shouldn't
just
say
saying,
no
"Hey,
trade, but like the level of trade was less sophisticated for them, whereas Byzantium had all of Asian goods, like because Greece was always big as a throughput for things. Most of the Middle East has always been a place people came through.
Well, it changed over to Venice during that period.
Them boys. Which is that a recapturing of Roman glory, or what is the Venetian conquest of Greece like?
Well, Venice was pretty much just a trade empire.
Just
said,
balling.
fuck it, we're this is the way we're going. They had the ability to they had the naval forces to roll in the Mediterranean before the New World was discovered, and
That is kind of the madness of money.
they still put shit outside their windows. It's weird
Because money can. What's interesting about money in warfare is that one boost, like all you need is one level of technology above your opponent, and it becomes dramatic. And like, depending on the time period, it can take a lot of money or a little money. But like the shit you can do with like a Radio Shack gift card could fuck up an airbase. Like, it is bananas that gap. How much like I made the joke where like the fellas at 9/11 did something the Americans could never do, is they killed that many people for that cheap. They paid what, a couple airline tickets and a couple lessons? Fucking A, it cost us billions to knock out that many lives. Not billions, millions likely. Maybe not million. I don't know. Maybe we got one bomb. Who the fuck knows? That's not my territory.
4,000.
But these dickheads clip coupons. Well, and that goes too. That's always the interesting thing with like tribal armies. And...
Well, yeah. I mean, I supported the idea that we probably should have just.
You support it though.
I mean, if we've ever had as a country since the Japanese, obviously,
them boys.
to chuck a nuke, we probably had the justification, and the rest of the world would have been and said, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, there is the second one, probably not, but the first one, probably not. But, well, man, yeah, because those are always because that was an interesting thing. Because like the reason we nuked Japan was not to end the war with Japan; it was to prevent a war with Russia.
Well, it was two reasons.
Well, I mean,
I understand the reason why that we wanted to let the Ruskies know
because it assuredly on. Like,
but we also understood that we're going in there, we're gonna lose a shit ton of people, and they're gonna lose a shit ton of people.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a pragmatic decision, and I'm not a pragmatist.
Yeah, pragmatism bums me out typically. Pragmatism seems to be like easy.
Well, yeah, I was like, well, it's the Phlegian idea that make a decision that it's better to let people die than not to die.
Oh,
say break an omelet, or to make an omelet, you got to break a couple of eggs, type of shit.
Which is always like, it's nonsense because like, yes, that can be the case, but it can also not be the case. Like all these, it's superstition at that point. Like fight fire with fire. Like, no, that just sounds cool, you idiot. It's not effective. Go try it. Oh, your kitchen's on fire. Go set it on fire. See what that fucking does for you.
But like, you look at the U.S. trying to do a conventional invasion of Japan.
Yeah, and it would have been a shit show. And I think like we just had to. But again, it goes to like posturing. Like we had to be as scary as humanly fucking possible. Because these guys were already
especially as the Soviets were fucking rolling through Manchuria at the time, too.
And, like, we have all these Nazi movies, but, like, we don't have as many movies as we should about what the Japanese did. And it's unfortunate that, because, like...
That's true. You know what? I've been...
Because the Germans, like... They kick themselves in the dick because of just all the shit on TV. Like, they're like, fucking A, we suck.
Well, they documented it very well, too.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, we start to, like, because people are like, oh, fuck you, China. You're like, well, remember, Nanking was a bit of a shit show, fellas.
So that's something that I've and I don't know if you're familiar with the guy. Probably not going to like what I'm referencing here. Jordan Peterson.
Oh, I like him. He's a fan of Joseph
He,
Campbell.
he's been rolling on that quite a bit in all the
He
things
gets
that
his,
I've been
he puts
reading
his
and
foot in his mouth sometimes.
about
but-
like the Jap. I know he's more of a Christian than anything else, but
Well, he's interesting because he's like a Pascal's Wager Christian. Like,
well, yeah, but I think it's deeper than that though. As I've been listening to him, and I've been listening to him a shit ton.
yeah, I think it's definitely not a superficial buy into Pascal's Wager. I think it's a very earnest. Like, I don't think
Trying
he's
to
doing it
understand
because of like hell. I think because he's not doing it to avoid hell. I think he's doing it to seek heaven. Because he understands Young
That
and
makes
Campbell, and the things he understands are things that I also study and like, and so that's why I appreciate him. Just because it's like we like the same music, you know. So he's a buddy, but I don't know the guy, but
He's also put up front about the Japanese. I can't remember what unit that was. Unit 173, or I think it was.
the
or
science fellers in the ones
in
Joseph
China,
Mengele
in
collected
China.
baseball cards of.
I've got it written down somewhere here.
Let's see.
I apparently wrote down "food good"
Very
in
good.
my notepad.
That's a good point. Unit 731. Unit
that's
731. Let's find. Here's some Wikipedia information. It's fake
I
news,
might be
bro.
wrong.
Manchu Detachment 731, or the Camo Detachment, the Ishii Unit, Ishii Detachment, or the Ishii Company, was a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit for the Imperial Japanese Army that undertook lethal human experimentation, means you die at the end, during the Second Sino-Japanese War. That was World War II.
Yes, that would be it. That would be it.
Damn. Yeah, those boys, they were like putting people in bleach, and they would do some stuff that was medically like, well, we should find out, but not this way. But then,
Well, one of the things that he is always throwing out is like, hey, let's see how this limb works.
yeah,
Let's cut it off.
let's just peel that bitch open.
Let's find out what happens afterwards.
Yeah, there's a whole
But I mean,
section
the
here
Nazis
on
did it a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say a
female
lot better.
prisoners were forced to.
That's the wrong way to put it, but
Yeah, well,
the Nazis documented it better because
Yeah,
they
for sure.
they documented everything.
and it's also quicker to translate into English. Sorry, folks, but racism's real. Rape and forced pregnant female prisoners were forced to become pregnant for use in experiments. So they were breeding the local Chinese so that they could use them in experiments. The hypothetical possibility of vertical transmission from mother to child of diseases, particularly syphilis, was stated as the reason for this torture. So they'd give the mom syphilis, rape her, get her pregnant, and then see if the baby got syphilis. So that's neat scientific method at work there, folks. Yeah, and it's not to say that, like, you're not watching anime by a guy who did this, but their grandpa did. And also, my great-great-uncle was in the Confederacy, and someone's grandpa was a Nazi, and there's shitty people out there. History sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, it is the hard thing, because it's like, yes, I'm bred from demons, but does that mean I'm a demon? No. It just means I could become one. I think. I hope.
Well, that is one of Peterson's big ideas, and I think that's something that he's grappled with from everything that I've listened to
Yeah.
from him, especially utilizing some of the recent things that he's had a problem with.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
just
he,
quit
he,
the...
he looks at like,
I
hey,
finally quit those
would you
pills.
really not be a concentration guard? I mean, if you were told that,
Well, also, if you were put in a situation where you could be brainwashed. Because, like, okay, you sat around.
I don't even think if it's
And
I don't even think it's brainwashing.
If that's
I
what
think it's
everybody's up to,
mostly-
that's what everybody's up to. That's the crazy thing. That's the thing about humans, that we try to find reasons for things, but like if that's what everybody's up to, that's what everybody's up to. And it's insane that it's that simple. But that's how barbarism gets across, because it's like, what are we up to today? Oh, this is what we're doing? Cool. Because people are... There's this thing in like all living creatures where you need to save calories for emergencies. And that's where laziness comes out of. Because it's not that you shouldn't do that, it's that like you need that energy for other shit. And then you turn it into other things, and it's hilarious. But wait, where'd that go? I lost a thing. We were talking about
We're talking about calories.
calories, but before that, slightly before that.
I think we're referring to how anyone could be.
Oh yeah, anyone can fall for
guard?
this. Yeah. Because like if you haven't seen The Social Dilemma yet, that's worth seeing because it confirms a few of my hypotheses, or at least presents a few of my hypotheses better than I did. But I had noticed, like, I got on Facebook and it was pretty much trying to get me to fight my friends. And I'm like, well, this is fucking crazy. And your environment, like, so many people are so far left and so far right just because that's how Facebook works and that's how Instagram
That's
works.
a lot.
And
That's a lot of people, and those are the people that fucking yell about it. I mean, I don't
but it's
yell. I mean,
also-
I actually make a decision not to yell about politics
Right.
that much on
'Cause
Facebook.
the thing is designed...
Mostly because I think most people just don't really know
No.
don't know how to conceptualize things.
But
It's
they're
like,
rewarded for
I mean, I got
discussing
a
it.
shit ton of friends, or well, I should say friends
Mm,
that are super left,
yeah.
and I choose not to engage them, on like what we call it, like public shit.
Right.
I'd rather like talk to them directly.
That is...
It's like,
yeah.
hey, this is where I believe. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, there's some folks that I've only blocked one person. I've been blocked myself, but
Yeah. I've been sucked up a couple times.
not intentionally for completely non-political reasons.
Oh, dude, it's because like what's wild is like the way the systems work is that it's not necessarily stuff that's gonna make you mad. It's stuff that will make you incensed, because it needs you to be engaged. And so if you like something, you might like it, or you might go neat, or you may not comment at all. If you see something that you agree with, you're less likely to engage with it because you're like, oh, good, because you think it exists fine on its own and it doesn't need much more. But then if you see something that like infuriates you, and so all of a sudden something will come up that like is personally tailored to piss me off, so it'll deal with like very specific historical shit or very specific things about like I was watching videos about Star Wars today, and then the YouTube algorithm, like I let it autoplay, and so it was just going over like Star Wars lore, and then eventually it started getting into like fan fiction about Star Wars that was just politically charged nonsense. Like, yeah, and I just like, it's bananas. Like the system, if you let it run, will just fucking infuriate you. And that's where we have this divisiveness. But if you look at like everyone's a concentration guard or has that, like none of us are immune to the guiles of, like if you read Propaganda by Bernays, that's the book everyone else was reading too. And they break down the science of how easy it is to dupe us, because all human cessation is based on these illusions that we have to like strap together into some kind of coherent thing to make a plan. And these illusions are super easy to fuck with. Magic eye posters and color, there's so kind
So
all kinds of shit like
I
that.
completely understand. And so I mean, I'm actually reading.
Oh, Plato's Allegory of the Cave. We were talking about that earlier. We'll swing back to it because it's the same shit.
Sure. But I'm currently reading Howard Zinn's The People's History of America.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not liking any of it.
Some of it's a bummer, and like I bet.
Oh no, I mean, I already kind of know
Yeah,
some of these things. It's not like I don't recognize.
he's got a definite slant on it.
horribleness of the slave trade, or the
Yeah.
slave trade, or the
Like the
Yeah.
fact that we've never lived up to the Constitution of the United States of America as a
Well,
nation.
it hasn't gotten to that point. I'm still I'm
I
still
think
at the slave trade.
We're trying, but I don't know that we've ever like fully given every citizen the full access to the constitutional
I
rights
don't
that they
know
deserve.
if that I don't know what that means though.
I think that there's significant impediments to people's rights in a lot of cases where some people feel that their rights allow it goes back to Orwell and all animals are created equal and some animals are more equal than others. And that happens in socialism.
I understand that,
but it happens in
I haven't read it,
capitalism
but I
too.
understand the concept.
Yeah, I think that happens no matter what your government system is. There's always people who think everyone's equal, but I'm more equal than you. And like, there's a lot of people who historically just like, no, you can't. There's someone saying you can't. And here's what's amazing is it's nothing in the documentation. It's nothing the country says. It's just something some fucking asshole says that it just takes us too long to go, oh, wait, this guy just some asshole. They had no authority in this entire time to say any of this shit or do any of this shit. It was just some bullshit custom these locals had. But it has nothing to do with your rights as an American citizen. It's just some fucking patunksy, whatever bullshit. There's a lot
I'm confused.
Well, so I guess what I'm saying is that there are impediments to people's rights, but they aren't necessarily structural. They're in the community. There are other members of the community who are doing their best to prevent others from having same access to those rights. And it's not most.
Would you think that's still systematic, though?
No, I wouldn't say that's systematic. I think that's community-based. I think it's not like it could be something where you could say the community has a system or whatever, and we could go into those terms. But like if we're saying the government itself, I don't know that the government can be anything other than just a room where you keep your shit. Like it's not alive. It can't make decisions. It can't hate. It can't. It only does what.
It's okay. It's organic. I understand that.
Yeah, it's always
I
made
mean,
out of the
but
things.
it slaps between left and right, and like it's goddamn Pong over there, man.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, I've gotten to that weird point where I've become a libertarian, at least on the individual level. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm an individual, and I've seen this from folks that I would consider racist.
Yeah.
But they don't actually interact with people as a racist. They act
For sure.
They interact with people. And I hate utilizing
I think some people are like
kind of terms. I really hate utilizing these kind of terms because it makes me feel like that there's a weird disconnect between how people deal with each other and how groups deal with each other. And
yeah, because it's like the World War I story of the guy, like, who knows if it's true, but, like, let's pretend it is, of the Germans and the Brits who played soccer on Christmas. Because those are individuals acting in, like, whether or not, like, they were still wolves fighting, but at some point the pause played, but, like, a
just
organization
said, hey, we're gonna, yeah, I know, what was it, the fucking winter truce or something like that, or Christmas truce.
I think that's what it's typical.
I know what you're referring to, though.
And that's definitely, and those moments always happen too, where even in these inhumane moments, like, humanity always like, that's the interesting thing about why I think the American military is so successful, is because we rely on the humanity of our troops, where a lot of militaries try to shut down the humanity of their troops.
And when it fucks up,
and that's why we're crybabies and shit afterwards, because, like, we have that luxury of not being fucking cyborgs who beat our wives like some of us do. But the fact that like our generation's a bunch of
That's happened a couple of times on the
good
way
for
back.
us.
Not my side, but
Right. Yeah, no, like the fact that we have these liberties is fantastic. It allows for a more productive society, because if warfighters can be reintroduced into society, you have a great, like, if we have kids, they're more likely to enlist, so that's better for the society. It's not necessarily great for us as individuals, because I don't necessarily know if I'd want a kid to enlist. However, the numbers are out there that likely 30%
I
of
ain't
them
paying
will.
for that kids. I ain't paying for my kids' fucking college.
No, not college.
I
Not
mean,
yet.
that's how I got fucking enlisted in the first place. So I tricked my dad though.
Yeah, dude. I was either
Hey.
gonna go to like.
Hey, you want me to join the army? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna join it during wartime, and I'm gonna go combat arms.
It's gonna be delightful. How's that college looking now, Dad? I'm like, dude. There's so many
Yeah,
people who told me the military was just gonna be a good career step or something. Like, oh yeah, if you join the Air Force, then it'll do this later.
It worked for my dad pretty well.
For a lot of those folks, it did when there was nothing to do, and like it was just summer camp for people who wanted to do push-ups, and then like, who just did blow in the barracks throughout the 80s.
He also had to go to war or go to jail type of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Like, it is wild, because here's the crazy thing: is all us softies who came up, all us millennial warriors, we grew up as pussies and still decided to fight, which is something.
Yeah, I know. I that's a weird thing. That's gonna. I mean, we're the older generation of millennials.
Elder millennials, if you
there's
will.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the elders of our generation. However you want to define a generation, I don't even know how the fuck.
They're changing so quick. I don't know who these kids are these days. That Tekashi
There's
6ix9ine fella, he
there's
scares the
Zoomers
shit out
now.
of me.
Zoomers now. We're boomers
No.
now. I don't know how we're boomers because
I better not
boomers
be. I was born in
supposed to be in
84,
the
bitch.
50s, but what's that?
I was born in 84, yo.
Yeah, I know, 83.
Oop whoop.
Yeah, we're boomers.
MTV.
We're
When did
elder
MTV
boomers.
come out? Boomers were in the 50s, because all the people from
I
World War II came
I know.
pulled their wieners out. Wieners? Anyone?
I think
What was I looking for? Oh, the 80s. Yeah. What was I looking at about the 80s?
Something about I think we're talking pretty hardcore about Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you know what music I can't play that I'm going to play anyway? I think this is either going to be Cheap Trick or it's going to be... Hang on.
Oh no. Don't do Cheap Trick. That's fucking bad.
Dude, Cheap Trick is the shit. How dare ye? But I'm looking for... No, this might be... This is a hilarious one, because I grew up in like an Air Force organization, but they always watch this Navy movie. You know what we're saying. Someone's getting a hint already. I'm just trying to remember what the song's called. Yeah, okay, I remember now. Alright. Just the intro should be good enough. It's fucking great, folks. Here we go. Okay, the copyright robots are coming for us. But yeah, Kenny Loggins, Danger Zone, Top Gun. Fucking awesome.
there you go.
Dude, music.
You know, I never liked Top Gun.
I liked it because of the music, mostly. It's got a bitchin' soundtrack, and like, that's the reason. Like, the fighter jets are always cool because jets are fucking cool. I don't care who you are. They're
It's a
awesome.
Tomcat though.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're sweet. F-14s were pretty cool. They could turn.
No, it's okay. I mean,
they could pull
actually,
into that
that's
turn.
what started really getting me into the military. As I was watching, well, my dad forced me to watch Patton, which
Patton's the
is probably
shit,
why I ended up going into tanking.
dude. I love Patton. George C.
And,
Scott was the man.
What
He's a
was
great
the other
guy.
one? I started reading
I saw that
Dale
one.
Brown's books.
Audie Murphy story. I had a lot of movies. Kelly's Heroes, that was good.
So I got it. Kelly's Heroes. Yes,
That's the
yes.
shit.
The hippie tanker.
Yeah. A bank robbery in a tank. It's the shit. It's such a wild movie, that one, Kelly's Heroes. Go look it up.
I do actually have
Donald Sutherland
a story
was.
for that. I do have a story for that.
Yes.
Very Kelly's Heroes. What was the Gulf War version of it? Fuck. Three
Oh,
Kings.
yeah, Three Kings. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have a version of it.
What'd you guys take?
So it's different. It's completely different though. It's about a tank troop or a tank platoon. I mean, I'm not going straight up here.
Mhm.
That and I've already wrote this quite a bit actually.
Nice.
You're gonna like this actually.
Bring
'Cause
it.
I'm utilizing my thought process here because obviously I've been drinking a little bit.
Oh, yeah, dude. No, I'm starting to feel
So
wonderful.
so it they go with they're on the border with Syria.
Mhm.
I'm just guessing maybe around the same time I was, not the same area I was though.
Right.
They're doing border security and they get hit by a shit ton of Syrian rebels or not rebels, insurgents. And the insurgents go back into Syria, into the desert, so they can't be pursued.
Right.
They lose they lose a tank during the attack.
No.
So the guy wakes up the next morning and is like, "Oh God damn it! I don't want to do this, but I got to do this." So he rallies up the few guys that he's got loyalists with, and this is the NCO, by the way, not the lieutenant.
Right.
He leaves the lieutenant. He
He's still
leaves the
asleep.
officer behind. He's just
Sir,
like,
you have a good career ahead
"All
of
right,
you.
guys. All right, guys. We're gonna roll into Syria. We're gonna fucking knock these motherfuckers out. They killed 3 of our dudes, and we're gonna fucking roll it." So it's the idea of going into enemy territory, first of all. And he doesn't give shit. Yeah, I'm not being very precise about it. It's called Gibbon's Crusade, which is probably not going to give me a whole lot of friends out there in
Oh, there's a fella.
the Reading. The utilization of the word crusade.
Oh, well, there's that too. Yeah. Well, it's regional.
Well, I mean, I actually wrote this before ISIS was a thing and all that shit. I actually have hard copies of some of this.
Man, ISIS is another. Dude, ISIS was another one of those internet tricks where they just memed themselves into existence. Like they just
Well,
saw.
no,
like,
no. Because
Well,
I
they had marketing.
I specifically remember when ISIS came about and they took over the town that I fought for.
Oh, really? Tell me.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't there. I was
Right.
back in the States.
Oh, I do remember when that started happening.
Say again?
I remember when that started happening. Where shit
Yeah,
was like.
it freaked me out. And there was folks that I thought that, fuck, man. Pretty sure that all the loyalists in that town probably dead now.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
very
because
good.
ISIS was weird because they were like the Nazis with Facebook. Like if the Nazis had Facebook, you would have ISIS. 'Cause they
I
were-
understand what you mean now.
They were able to like recruit people who Because even people who don't necessarily like
Well, there's a
legitimately
weird
believe
thing
that
about.
shit, just like the fact that like they can hang out and say that they believe that shit. Like you can
So
see that with a
here's.
lot of
Go ahead.
groups.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I keep on interrupting.
Oh no,
I
it's all right,
apologize
dude.
for that.
Go ahead and interrupt, man. I talk a lot too, so it's a thing.
Well, there's a thing about in the Middle East that there's a burgeoning amount of young kids
Mhm. Yeah.
between fighting age 17 to what was I in perfect fighting condition? Well, right now,
Yeah.
but
Up to about 25, you're pretty much
you know what I mean.
ideal.
Young folks that are able to join a fighting organization and not really give a shit because they want to fight.
Right.
And they have a large population, and most of them are not obese.
Right. A lot of them are healthy. A lot of them have dealt with death, and
They don't really give a shit. They don't have the ability to really think about what they're doing.
if they do, it's they've thought about it. Because like if they've either they don't think about death, or they've thought about it enough that it's not an issue, where they can be that
Or they don't
reckless
think
and
about the
cavalier.
consequences of what they're doing.
Right.
And that's where the break point comes through.
Well, because they also like, especially if you get in those like short lifespan time cycles, just thinking gets more and more hectic, and it also gets the information that gets passed on is diluted, and because like I'm gonna skip a lot of shit because I need to tell you this because we're all gonna die in 5 years, so here we go. And you see that in like
Let's go rape some shit.
like in populations where there's like heavy gang turnover, where like gangs are shooting the living shit out of each other. You can see like a gradual diminishment in that gang's overall effectiveness and power because they lose the ability to transmit information because they're in like this consistent panic state. And
Well,
they have these recruits and
there's
shit.
there's no conceptualization of what they're doing.
Right, there is
don't
no
give a
future because like everyone dies tonight, and so like we're not gonna have a plan for the barbecue next Thursday. Like, and some gangs can maintain that, and they have a barbecue every Wednesday, or they have a annual this, or like some of them can hold their shit together because most of them started out as just a neighborhood watch, but then in these like partisan fights or these like just everyone's dying all day kind of situations, it just becomes again Plato's allegory of the cave or your Facebook stream or all you have. It doesn't, same as me, it doesn't matter how smart I am, I only have the information I have access to. And
Yeah.
so if all I have is that, then that is all and I will be a master of that thing. And so you also have brilliant people who the only thing they can learn is death and violence. And so they become fucking experts.
Well, yeah, and the smart people are the ones that direct those unwashed masses.
Yep. They're like, oh, I can do
To
this
just
real
like,
quick.
yeah. You know what? You get to kill. I mean, you remember being big, youngin.
Oh yeah, they're like they'll tell you like do you want to kill stuff? Cool. Do you want to be a hero? Cool. Like whatever the thing it is that you'd like to hear, they'll just say shit like a drug dealer. They'll say the
If
thing
you
until
die,
you
you get 71 versions. I was always
depending.
we always liked the Virginians. Like, oh no, I don't want those Virginians.
I think somebody made the comment it'd be funny if they were like just a bunch of virgin dudes. They're like, we weren't specific, and it's just a bunch of guys playing like World of Warcraft. Like, what's happening, man? He's like, oh shit.
What? Right? Oh damn! I thought I was gonna get hot bitches.
No, we ran out of the girls years ago. You guys keep blowing yourselves up, so we just got these fellas in the back.
That is funny.
Hi, my name's Todd. I died of vitamin D deficiency. My back is naturally shaped this way now. Like, oh, this
I
is gonna be
I
fun.
still want to see your work on what was it? Fuck, I can't remember what it was, but I'm trying to remember. Father Means Well. There we go.
Oh yeah. That's still coming along. I'm thinking, I'm on like the 11th draft, and I keep writing it, and I like I like the sort of universe that I've built, but I keep getting into this problem where I have all these like who gives a shit moments, where I'm writing and it starts to get interesting, and then I'm like, fuck this, and like if I'm thinking that, I can't imagine it's appealing to.
So that's one of the issues when it comes to writing. I completely understand that. I mean, as I'm working on my flat Earth thing, it's more character based,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm looking at After Fall. It's like, Jesus Christ, I got to rewrite that whole thing because toilet paper became a fucking commodity after the
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
destruction of America.
Which was hilarious. People are so silly. And it was because of, like, there was an episode of some TV show or some bullshit that said it. And people lost their goddamn mind. Like, every...
Yeah, I was not expecting the...
Or they'll buy all the bread or something.
I was not expecting us to be that close to the devolution of society. I didn't even think I needed... Apparently, I didn't even need nuclear weapons to fucking put that shit down.
Well, the easy part of it is, though, because, like, imagine you're sitting on your phone and you get an alert, and then sometimes it could be an alert and it could be a text saying, hey, do this. And then other times it's like, top 10 reasons you're going to die right now unless you buy these Lysol coupons. Or, like, everything is selling you something, like a reason you should be terrified and that your life will be better if you add this. Like, you're probably ugly. Take this drug. Cut your face with this hot knife. Do these things. Like... Okay, I'll be pretty then? No, we'll have more shit to sell you after that, you ugly fucking creature. Like, oh, I don't think these people actually have my best
wreck
interest.
all that shit right off the bat.
Well, it's hard to, like...
That's the weird thing, though, that I have with After Fall.
Yeah.
Is that it's a complete removal of... Like, the whole first chapter is about... You know, you remember... Well, I don't know tornado... alerts down here, but I remember them up in the Midwest.
First Saturday
like,
of the month.
It's like, well, this is a tornado. You got a tornado warning. Oh shit! And it's not a tornado warning; it's an air alarm.
Yeah, and it's always like you have to check too, because like you'll hear it. It's once a month. And then you're like, is it Saturday? It better be Saturday. It's got to be Saturday.
Oh yeah. I had that in Kalamazoo every once in a while, especially when I was writing it too, like the original draft. And
it's like only people who've either been in a tornado or been in a situation where that siren meant something else. Does anyone have any other? Otherwise, everyone else in the entire state is like, whatever. It's just an air raid siren. What are you gonna do?
That's the thing, though.
But then, like, the rest of us, like,
and the father just like says, fuck it, it's just a tornado warning. I'm just gonna turn on the TV, just make sure that the Weather Channel, which is so outdated now.
It is funny. There was a whole channel just for weather. Everyone's dead.
Like, I'm gonna turn on the Weather Channel, make sure that the tornado that cycle is not near us. It's like, oh no, now I got the president doing an alert.
Yeah, dude.
Like, hey, you got 20 minutes to get downside because there's nuclear weapons just flying towards you.
Like, there's the moments of trying to make the story crazier, but I wonder if maybe what I could do is not make the thing crazier, but make it nearly as true as it is, but then put it in a different place. So, like, if I use the sci-fi thing, use sci-fi as like a separate petri dish to compare the control experiment against. So, like, this is how this went when I did it. Here's how it goes as I war game it in this weird sci-fi world. So what does this realization I had do to me here? Well, does that realization have a different impact in this other world? And, like, I think that's some of what I'm trying to do that ends up getting muddled. Because, I'm wondering, like, am I putting too much bullshit into the point I'm trying to make? Because the point I'm trying to
Maybe.
make is extremely difficult. It's a point that has been.
That might be a thing, and I've suffered through that quite a bit. I mean, I'm still working through Afterfall, removing characters and trying to re-edit things. I mean, I'm at edit point at this point, and fuck, I've been at edit point for like 3 years now.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, I've been doing drafts for like 4 years, and it's just non.
So I think the best way to go about it is just to like punch it through, especially if you're working on the original story, just
Right.
drag it along.
Because in my head, I have the whole story, but I don't have. I have the whole trajectory, and then I have the skeleton.
Yeah, I remember reading it. I
And,
mean, I did not. I thought it was kind of good, actually. To tell you the truth.
oh, thanks, man. Yeah, good. Hopefully, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it's
A
on
little
its
muddled,
way.
but I mean, I got the concept that you were
Yeah,
throwing.
I definitely wrote it. It definitely came out of this head, but it's it's trying to tackle a few things, and it's trying to like, because the interesting thing I did with the story is that Father Meanswell is a priest who's also like a space marine type. So,
Yeah,
and the reason I did that,
yeah, I know. I kind of know where that comes from.
yeah, it plays with like the hero thing, like to the extreme too, of like, because in my head when I was a kid, there was so much of this hero worship and hero shit involved in the military. So it wasn't like I'm gonna go kill people and wear an outfit and get pussy. It was like I'm gonna get to hang out with heroes and shit. And so I wanna hype that up almost to make the lows of the disappointment seem that much more disappointing. And then it also gives me some other avenues to play with as far as like religious symbolism and all that, or even like, oh, I can make God a character if I want because it's a sci-fi, so it gives a shit.
Yeah.
And you can go kind of nutty from there. But yeah, I don't know, I'm starting to peter out there.
I mean, I could always play around with the space battles. I love space battles.
Dude, it's
I'm
a
big
fun
guy
idea. Well, and
about those things.
like I just wrote one and I skipped it. I skipped the whole thing, and I realized that as I wrote it. Like I wrote one scene, and then this next one starts with them like, "Holy shit, that was crazy." It's like, well, I should probably explain the crazy thing, right? So
Well, sometimes you don't always have to explain what happened, as
yeah,
long as you get context.
that's the trick of it.
What
Is like I'm trying to move the pace on where, because of how the story works, it could go on infinitely, but that's no fun.
Yes.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
necessarily all have to, like, none of the story happens in a week either. Because at some point, like, he has to wait for the universe to die, and that takes
It's
a couple.
kind of like a foundation thing where it's a long time of. I don't know if you've read any Asimov
Foundation
shit.
by Asimov, dude. Dude, I love the whole Foundation series. It's the shit.
I never got to finish it. I've read halfway through, more than halfway through. But
Yeah, I like it. It gets a little weird, but it kind of shows.
well, yeah, you know what psychohistory.
Yeah,
Well,
dude, I love.
obviously you understand why I liked it.
Dude, psychohistory kind of got me pushed into certain avenues of things where, because it's an interesting idea because it makes a lot of sense that there could be certain things that could be predictable, and then there just has to be this avenue of understanding that there can't be any certainty
Right.
in those.
both
Yeah.
creating that avenue, but also understanding where it's going to go
Right.
from.
Because there is the place for that to exist, but it doesn't ensure that thing's existence. Just because there's a shelf doesn't mean there's a book. Like, we know there's a shelf. We know there could be a book, but we don't know that these two things will connect.
Is that shelf flat?
Dun dun dun. Well, it can't be round. All your books would fall over.
Unless they're glued.
Dude, flat earthers are the funniest when I tell them that I've seen the curvature of the earth with my bare eyes. Because then they're like, no, because,
You should really like experience some like hardcore flat earthers because they are funny as fuck.
There's so many places you could drive to within a day to see it right the fuck now.
Oh, they have justifications for all that.
Oh, of course. It's mirrors and wizards and
I've already thrown it out there to a couple of them. It's like, hey, you really want to find out if the world is flat? Let's go to Antarctica.
let's go dig to China,
I'm not paying for it.
motherfucker. I'll go with you guys. I want to see your face when we hit the ice wall.
But and if we're gonna fight that, if we're gonna go up against that ice wall, I want to fight it.
Well, the thing that blows my
I'm
mind
not
about
gonna be happy about it.
like flat Earth is hilarious because they're like, well, Columbus thought the Earth was flat. Like, no, he didn't. He used a globe to illustrate his point when he was in
Yeah,
the court of
his
Spain.
entire idea, but he miscalculated the curvature of the Earth, or not the curvature, but the
They just thought the continents were bigger. Kinda.
size of the Earth.
Yeah, it was basically like their math was a little bit off, but like by a hair. It was kind of remarkable, but like at scale, you lose a lot of shit. But then there were also maps prior to that that had the whole coast, or at least the east coast, all the way down to South America on it. There's some debate as to whether or not those are authentic, but if they are, they predate Columbus, and it's not impossible to assume people would be out that way anyway. You know.
Well, I mean, the Vikings had already been over here.
But it's just funny, modern idiots thinking other people were that dumb, and it makes sense too, because like, well, how would they know? Well, why would they assume this new shit though? Like, why would they come up with this out of nowhere? When
I mean, that's a good position. I mean, I'm just steel manning their argument here. It's like, well, we didn't really know that the American continent was there. How do we know that there's not something in the South that we don't understand?
well, then let's go find out, bud.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm already ready for it.
Yeah, I don't get why there's such a lack of adventure and exploration and like, yeah, it's expensive, but like, get some buddies together and buy a rocket or whatever. But like, let's get the fuck off this planet, man. Let's go do space pirate shit or like.
Oh yeah, I want to go to Mars. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen in our lifetime.
Fuck
As
yeah,
long as
dude.
we don't die in the next 5 years.
I want to build a veteran cemetery on the moon and just force everyone to stare at their fucking mistakes. Look what you did. Look what you did.
I'd rather have a bigger grave on Mars.
Yes. Build me a pyramid. Mars would be kind of wild. I don't
That's
like,
what we should do. Is like first thing we get to Mars, just build a pyramid.
because like here's a
Like,
crazy
why the
thing.
fuck not?
Like, how much money would it take? But like, let's just say a town in West Virginia in the next generation, like, they get their shit together and they build a rocket. In the next 5 years, they claim an asteroid and become rich. Is that a... Oh, he's taking off. It's a crazy thing, but it's not an impossible thing. Like, it's likely the number of obstacles are insane. However, it doesn't mean it's not a good idea. What is that like? What are the things that happen on the way to that? On the way to like, can you become independent in space as a individual? That's fucking insane.
Say again?
The idea of sort of being an independent citizen in space, because like you used to have the gold rush, but you really can't have a gold rush anymore because it's all on private property. But you could have another gold rush in space where you're just like, this is my asteroid, motherfucker. Like, I guess it is. And then
Well,
bada bing.
that's one of the little cruxes that I've looked at too. I've had like unstarted things about like right in the asteroid belt because there's a shit ton of resources there
Oh yeah.
we have to extract from
It's
our
enough to
own
make
planet.
war silly. As silly as it is. To like everyone go, alright, we're done.
Well, everybody thinks it's silly. I mean, no, yeah, I understand that, but
Ultimately, like it's
we're at that point where we can actually do it. I mean, we're not quite there yet.
But if we put our effort toward it, we could be there next year. Like, or at least pretty fucking close. We could be on the way, as opposed to not
I think
on
it
the
would
way.
probably at least take 10 years.
Yeah,
If
in
there
all
was a
honesty, it's going to take a minute.
specific effort to
But
do it.
it's a matter of getting that effort started. And once you get that effort started, that gets like the amount of interesting shit we get out of the space program is.
No, that is true. You're correct there. Sorry, I didn't mean to
no.
interrupt you.
I was probably going to say some madness that people have already heard. But yeah, no, like, you get good shit out of the space program. And you get more interesting shit. Like, you do get tons of stuff out of military programs, but the benefit is so short term, and it just never pays off historically. Like, every war we've been in has been a shit show. Even the ones that we're proud of and this, that, and the other thing, like, the aftermath is always... Like, yes, it's a noble thing. Yet, like, we can affirm all of the things we'd like to affirm about war, but, like, we have to be... It's a destructive thing. There's no way it's not. But, like, destruction... Like, when you burn down a forest, that's when jack pines grow and yada yada. But, like, you can also plant them, I suppose. I don't know. There's smarter ways about... You get what take this from me, because I'm starting to spiral a bit.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to track.
Yeah. There's fragments of it. I'm trying to hold my shit together, folks. I'm doing pretty good, I think. This is a pretty strong 200 milligram. We talked about that already. Hey now, edibles, yo. But it's good because my knee is gonna explode. Feels like my kneecap is gonna shoot across, or maybe up through the table, possibly. It's a fun kind of pain.
I thought it was going to come through the computer, apparently.
It's coming, dude. My kneecap. It's going to shoot right off of my bones into the screen. We got 3D glasses made for the audience. They'll love it. It'll be good times.
So, I mean, I do think that that's an important thing that humanity should do. I don't know how we do it
Right.
correctly.
Right.
We still have a shit ton of problems down here.
I think we have to encourage people to fuck it up. Like, if we can create an environment where people can make mistakes along the way, and if we can create an economy where it's not going to be personally destructive to fail this thing, and like, oh, I tried making a rocket and it didn't work. It shouldn't be something that destroys you. But I mean, not everybody needs to be making
That's the weird
rockets
thing.
also.
That's the weird thing between, and I'm not trying to get into politics too hard here, but that's the weird thing that occurred with Barry and Donnie. Barry said, you know what, we're gonna just say fuck it, we're done with the NASA.
Yeah.
Donnie said, we're making a Space Force. It's like, well, fuck yeah, that's cool.
It was an interesting set of moves. Like, militarizing space is counter to treaties, but we already had military operations.
But we already broke those during Bush years.
Yeah, we had that shit ages and ages ago. So, like, it was a matter of just admitting who we are. But yeah, the focus.
And I don't think it should be a specific. I don't think it should be just America that does it. I mean, I think it should be an international effort.
Right, and that's the like, because I think that's how you can still maintain national integrity without fucking things up, because you have peaceful competition at that point. Of like with the ISS, America's like, oh, we'll build it if you guys show up, and they're like, all right, that's cool, and everybody brings the things they can bring to the party. And it's kind of a nice
gave
experience.
up, and then now the Russians control that thing.
Yeah, dude. And then now we're getting our civilian-led shit that's going to start docking, and that whole process.
That is awesome. That is awesome. The fact that fucking civilians are now doing it.
Dude.
I mean, that's
fucking,
the excuse. That's capitalism at fucking hyperdrive.
Because now you don't need permission to leave the planet. That's kind of fucking crazy. That's a weird statement to make.
Low orbit.
Maybe air traffic controller. Well, you could probably kick some fuel into that bitch and get her out there if you felt like it. I don't know. Who knows? It's space, yo. I played Space Engineers and made a few mistakes.
You read The Expanse, man.
Oh yeah, dude, I love that one because they stay. That one feels like, oh, this could probably happen, because it's stuff
Oh,
that's
have you seen the show or have you read the book?
I
Book.
have read excerpts, like essay kind of fragments, where it's like, here's a featurette. Yeah, featurette, I guess is what it is. But I'd like to sit down and I probably want to get the audiobook because I'm sitting and reading is a pain in the ass for me sometimes. But
So here, well, I'm just gonna interrupt
hit it.
very fast because I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the best space warfare that I've ever seen, and it's both on the show and also on in the book because I'm still reading. They got weird, like, huge books which are way overpriced, and in like old people version of reading a book, it's
Nice.
very bizarre.
Illuminated
And
manuscripts.
it's not like I'm reading the old person book.
Right, right.
I'm not reading big fonts or anything like that. I've already done that once, and I did not like it.
Yeah, I do like that they take into account shit that, like, because Star Trek and Star Wars just
Gravity.
don't have an answer for gravity.
They utilize gravity and like real bullets and things like that. And when something penetrates,
or like
the
the fact
hole,
that, like, yeah, you don't get sucked out.
Fucking problem.
Yeah, like, and like it's a different kind of problem because it's not like in Alien where you get turned into spaghetti. Like, if you can seal that gap, you're fine. The air pressure, it's stuck.
Exactly. Yep.
But like, if you don't, it becomes a problem, and like it becomes. And there's also, like, you know, the bends you can get and all kinds of crazy shit. Like, if you're just dipping between different atmospheres,
they kind of have to fake the faster than light travel.
Right. But I like the way they do that.
I'm still working with in my sci-fi shit.
Here's how I plan on doing it. I'm going to have a different species be in charge of faster than light travel, and
that sounds like Dune.
nobody knows how to handle it. So I don't have to explain it.
That sounds like Dune.
Well, these are going to be whales, and we'll see.
That sounds like Dune.
Whatever. I'm stealing it then. Because I like the idea of, like...
Did you not read Dune?
No, I haven't read it. I've seen the movie, but I haven't read the book.
All right.
Because it's another one of those
I've only read the first two.
in-depth long ones. But I do like the idea of... I may have stolen it from that, but I do like the idea of, just as a writing thing, because then I don't have to describe dilithium crystals. I'm like, I don't know, the whales do it. It just... It's an interesting problem,
I get
too,
that.
because,
I get
like...
that. Oh, no, don't worry. I completely get that. Because
Well, it's kind of fun, too, because you can take away their faster than light travel by either damaging the ship or political intrigue. Because, like, in Star Trek, you can't, like, start a war and then nobody has faster than light travel. But in my story, if we start a fight with the whales, you're fucking stuck in your system, or you got to float for 300 years to get back to where you're from. You're like, well, this sucks. And then so, like, I thought that was kind of an interesting bit, too, of, like, are there...
I remember you talking about the whales. Too.
Yeah, because there should be technology that we may not understand. Because I imagine if we become that big of a society... Because, like, I don't... Like, I understand how blacksmithing works, but I can't blacksmith. And there's just some shit that's close enough to magic that we'll just call it that. Where I wonder if there may be stuff that, like... Oh yeah, the Bothians do teleporting, and we just don't fuck with it because it's wild stuff, man.
Figure it out.
All right, cool. They do.
No, I get that. And actually, unfortunately, I actually ran into that same problem with my whole thing because you know, faster than light. Even if you can get to the brink of the faster than light travel, it's still going to take 22 years from Earth to get to Alpha Centauri, right?
Right.
That's
Unless
22 years,
and that's if you're going.
I don't even know what the fuck's going to be on that over there.
Right.
So I kind of developed an entire. I call it middle space.
That's a good idea.
So it's kind of like and I'm combining a whole lot of shit there too, with from Star Wars to Babylon 5, which is probably my favorite show in history
Hell
ever.
yeah. It's kind of
Watch it.
like like a subspace kind of thing, or like a so you go in like a
So
shortcut dimension.
It kind of brings together real space,
Yeah.
gravity controlled, but slams things between the dark space between systems and things like that. Unfortunately, though, I had to think about this a little bit more, and then now
There
I had to
could
figure
be
out how it came about.
a
And
certain like plane of measurement where all of the points exist in the same location at once effectively, and then you just decipher as you pull out from that.
well, it's kind of the reverse of what
Because I
empty
think
space is
in my own
from.
mind, that seems to be the faster. I don't know if that is faster, but like you can either stretch all the way to the thing, or what if you just brought all the things to you and then just threw the thing behind you?
So there's still travel time,
Mm-hmm. Because you do
but
like to have those
gravity
interludes.
gravity works in the opposite, essentially. So gravity is bigger
Okay.
in this little alternate
Yeah, yeah.
little area. And I haven't I'm not a scientist, so I don't know exactly how to explain it because it's science fiction. So
There's
I'm
that
not
too.
specific about all these things. But essentially everything. So let's just say you're going from Earth or our solar system to Alpha Centauri, right?
Yeah.
So 22 years it takes the travel time.
Good times. Pack a
But
lunch.
you can't go into middle space till you get away from the gravity well of the sun and all the other planets.
Oh, that's a fun kind of mechanic.
So the difference between Sol and Alpha Centauri is smaller, but you can't just like
Right.
roll in right off the bat. You gotta get out of that middle space, otherwise you're just
That would be
fucking-
interesting for an invasion story because you have someone like they zip through the middle space, but then the invasion fleet is going to take like 7 years to get to their target or something, and then all of a sudden, like for the next 7 years, this entire planet's like, oh Jesus Christ, what do
I'm
we
not
do?
sure how navigatable it is yet.
Right, that might be an interesting thing to just be randomly thrown around.
But unfortunately, I have already come up with the idea that it was created
Ooh,
accidentally.
even better.
So a race was trying to create wormholes or fast travel between two planets and kind of fucked up,
Nice.
blew shit up, created the entire
Oh, like
middle space.
install the
idea.
permanent fixture instead of the
And then
temporary.
they all got trapped inside of it.
Nice. That'd be fun. I have an idea kind of like that where there's a monastery that's in this space around a black hole where like time effectively stops. And so
Yep.
my idea is that these guys
That's
are immortal.
actually part of it too.
Yeah, dude. Because I think that'd be kind of fun. Because like that's one of my technicalities. I'm thinking is that's how he gets
Don't
to the end
steal
of
my
time.
ideas, Steve.
No, this is my idea. That's how he gets to the end of the time is because the universe will keep spinning, and even though he's paused, like he won't notice the spin, and so by the time he gets out, it'll be the end of time, and then I can do something with that, with him being the last thing at the end of time. That could be fun. Because then he's like, because that's an interesting place to put a character like that, or somebody who's, because again, this is all just allegories for shit I've been through. But at that point, if somebody's at the end of time, the character has nothing left. Like, you're out of shit at that point. There's nothing more for you to find other than what is inside of you. And so, like, at that point, there's nothing but the character to figure out, like, all right, fucker, who are you?
I still think you should watch some of what's his name that I mentioned earlier or a couple of weeks ago. Fuck. Let me look it up real quick. So I think this would help you out a shit ton on some of the higher concepts.
Mm-hmm. What time is it? Holy shit, brother.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I'll let you go here.
This is fun.
I'm ready. I'm ready to die myself here.
I think we've had 4 reviews, which is terrific. For all of you who listening at home, thank you very much. This has been hilarious. I love you guys. We've been at this
Stealing our ideas.
11. Well, we were at it since 10, technically, but you didn't hear that part. 11, 12. So 3 hours. That's insane. But we're insane as well, so that's fun. You talking about Peterson?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
No, sci-fi guy.
Asimov? No.
No, he's a fan of Asimov, though. I'm looking him up right now. He's one of my... I gotta switch my YouTube channel.
Ba-ba-loo-ba.
Watching too much politics recently, so that's gonna take me a moment.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm knocking shit over. Oh, no.
I will tell you who's hot though.
Hmm.
Can't remember her name. Damn. She's on the hill though.
I don't know that show.
Why I got distracted by that.
That's why they hire people like that.
She's smart. I mean, I don't like her politics, but she's not like a fucking crazy.
Yeah. Who's that one? Nancy Grace. She was fun. The devil is coming for your baby. I don't think she ever said that, but she would say some shit. She'd be like, this motherfucker's guilty. You're like, hey, that's not how. Careful. I think
Crystal
that's how
Ball.
she got in trouble.
There we go. I remember her name.
That's
I
her
didn't
actual
even-
name?
I didn't even have to. Yeah.
Crystal Ball?
Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball.
Alrighty.
She's on the hill. That's not who I was looking for.
Oh,
though.
okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to read any of her
I, just,
stuff.
I was just talking about hot babes that talk about politics.
That is that a stage name? That's her.
I think that's her name.
Was she baptized with that?
I don't know that.
Well, I mean, people do have silly names. Names are silly to begin with, but
I mean, she's a communist, so
well, that's fun. I wonder if there were ever actually any real
but
comments.
she is on a show with what I would. They're both of them are kind of populist.
Oh, so they're just like opinion junkies.
Yeah, but they do a good they do a good show. I like it.
Meh, it's all poison.
I don't agree with either one of them.
I don't agree with people's opinions being in the news. Just fucking did it happen or did it not happen? I don't need to care. Like, why do I give a shit about someone's...
Well, you always got to listen to other people's opinions, though, too, man.
Not really.
I mean, I guess you don't, but
They're irrelevant.
then you'll live in a vacuum.
Not necessarily. Did the tree fall or not? Who gives a shit if it's upsetting? Did it fall or not? Let me feel how I feel. Like, they steal... Because an interesting thing, at least my opinion on this, is that when they inject their opinion, they steal your opportunity to inject your own. Or at least they make it... They start to present an argument where it becomes not necessarily difficult, but they lead the argument already. They present it in a way where,
Holy shit! Your voice changed like crazy there.
oh, did it? Did
It
I
did.
turn into a robot or something?
Well, I was very confused. I thought there was someone random there.
Hey now. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No. No. I mean, they're both kind of.
Well, they're making money.
They're both populist. Well, yeah. I mean,
They're just there selling dick pills to old
I hear
people.
where you're coming from there. I've been able to enjoy them. I mean, remember, I'm more of a.
But remember, it is wrestling.
Mm,
You can sit
well,
and watch. It's watching
if
WWE.
you already accept the fact that it's wrestling, then you got to understand that it's going to be wrestling.
Yeah, dude. It's like that's the unfortunate part is it's just a bunch of like I remember it was the WWF. But it's a bunch of Hulk Hogan wannabes fucking running the show. Like, all right, Nancy, get after it. Sorry if your name's Nancy. My Aunt Nancy's named Nancy.
I'm still trying to remember. God damn it. You got me confused here.
Yeah, that's how I roll, man.
Trying to remember who I can look at subscriptions. There we go.
Oh yeah, you're reading the thing. The folks who wrote you talking The Expanse?
No. The sci-fi guy that does a lot of high level shit.
Mm.
I think I know I've suggested him to you before here.
Dan Simmons? I have a lot of Dan Simmons. He did Hyperion. Hyperion's a good one. Hyperion, I like Hyperion. The sequels are, they step away from the format of the first one, and so they're a kind of different you have to prepare yourself for. But other than that, they're good. It's just like jarring at first. I'm trying to finish a few books. I just got a few more. What did I get? I'm almost done with The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. That one's pretty good. I just got Origins of Political Order by Francis Fukuyama. On Combat by Dave Grossman.
Oh,
SPQR.
Fukuyama sucks.
Really? I'll have to check
Yeah.
it out.
He was the guy that wrote The End of History, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. That could be interesting. I'll have to see. Because if he's doing Origins of Political Order from just a postmodernist perspective, that could be a bit of a bummer.
So it's
This
Isaac.
is Audible.
Whoop, never mind.
Isaac Arthur.
Oh,
For
okay.
there, Steve.
Yeah. Do I have anything by him already?
It's not an author. It's a YouTube guy.
Oh, it's a YouTube fellow. Oh, okay. I'll check it out then.
He's good. I've enjoyed all of his shit.
The Anarchy I gotta finish. That's about the British East India Company. That one's been pretty fucking wild. Yeah. Alright, let's call it. It's been fun going on and on. Like we said, no topic, and that's fun for tonight. We might come up with something next time, we might not. But we enjoy hanging out with you guys. Do yourself a favor, take time to relax and do nothing at all sometimes. It's been a hectic, fucking shitty year. It doesn't have to be that way. Remember, the robots are trying to make you crazy. No, they're not. Or they are. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I'm stoned, folks.
All right, man.
All right.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right, gang. We love you. DFD.SLM at deployedfromdetroit.com. If you want to volunteer and help us out with the Pathfinder program, we could definitely use you. Other than that, we'll see you when we see you. Carry on. All right, bud. Let's end it.